All right, we're live.
Nice. I'm gonna drop you the check-in link, by the way, in here in Skype. So just feel free and share. Are we getting a weird echo?
Yeah, I think let me turn this down. Is that better?
No, it might be Guy.
Is that coming from me?
It's usually Guy's mic is like a little strange.
Yeah, let me turn mine down. Let me know how that is.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Oh yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
I could also put in headphones.
It's usually Guy screwing shit up.
It's all my fault.
All right, so I'm gonna put this thing on, and I think we're live right now. This thing starts recording automatically, right?
Yes, it does.
All right, me and technology.
Yeah, right. All right, I'm going to get a beer.
All right. You guys set?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna plug in a different mic.
All right, Elon, you want to lead us off?
You said he went to go get a beer.
Oh, he did?
Oh. That's it. Things are falling everywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, we're breaking it. All right, well, while Elon's getting a beer, I just want to welcome everybody here. If you could just, type in the chat box, let us know that you can hear us and everything. And then we'll kind of we'll get started. I'm just going to kind of move some stuff around here real quick while we're waiting for Elon. He's going to kind of welcome you guys all in. Like I said, if you can just type in the chat, let us know that you can hear us, make sure everything's working right. That'd be awesome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
They came for Facebook marketing. They're about to get a strip show.
Oh boy.
Sounds like a Frank Kern event now.
I do love that man. So what's everyone out there doing? So by the way, guys, Jason dropped a link. You can come hang out with us on Twitter. Also, just go to this satoriprimeacademy.com/check-in, and we can communicate there too. And if there's someone that you really wanted to teach some Facebook stuff to, you can share that with them by all means. For those that don't know us, while being expert Facebook marketers and I guess just entrepreneurs in general, we do love to have fun. So this is going to be a really cool event. They can't see my screen, right? They can only see yours, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah. We might be in little boxes towards the bottom, though.
Oh, they can see the little box towards the bottom?
I don't know. It's a possibility. I'm actually gonna log in to see what they're seeing too, so I can handle some things here.
So I just want to tell you guys that we're all drinking beverages with alcohol in them. So if you guys want to hang out and have a good time with us, then by all means, why don't you come and do that? So
Yeah.
by the way, as people are joining in, I just want to let you guys know, check out this beer. I don't know if you can see that.
No, we can't see you. I'm looking at their screen right now. No.
So this beer is called Christmas Eve at a New York City hotel room.
Oh, that's incredible.
Right? What a fucking name.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And they thought they came for Facebook.
Yeah. Beer lesson 101. Oh shit.
Yep.
Did we lose
All
Elon?
right. Well, best introduction of all time, clearly.
Oh crap.
Yep. Gone.
I flew too close. Flew too close to the sun. Wow, I poured a bunch of beer on myself right now.
Wow. You're not even drunk yet, and it's just shenanigans already.
Crap.
All right. Let's give them another minute to log in, and then let's do a little bit more of a formal introduction.
Yeah, I'll wait till some of them come in.
Well, I see there's quite a few people on here that I met out in San Diego. I saw Ryan Walsh is here. Ryan, welcome. Glad that you guys could join us tonight.
Welcome to Lisa and Bill saying hello in the chat box. I see Wes and Jamie Spear. Chris, John Michael, TJ, what's up, guys? Not everybody has a name in here, unfortunately. Joseph Conrad, what's up, my friend? Lenny, Ryan, Mindy Rosser, maybe Roser, I'm not sure. Randall, Maureen, and Michael. Stephen and Brian, Mickey's here. Hi, Mickey. Might be our Mickey. Hey, Mel. Robert and Joe and Matt, thanks everybody for joining us. I still see some of the attendee lists going up. Let's give it like 30 more seconds.
You tell me when. I'm just cleaning up my mess.
Well.
Hey, listen, when you play with fire,
you get burned.
Spill beer.
You burn, you know?
Yo, you spilled beer on yourself.
No, I just poured it thinking like it wasn't going to be so heady, and then it poured out with this massive, massive head and poured all over me. All right, I got
too many jokes. Too many jokes right there.
You think it would totally derail this thing if we put the Stu meme up?
Out of context, man. Out of context.
It really is out of context. When, you know, you can build a bridge.
Yeah, that's true.
Loana, hi. Joseph Conrad, Wayne, Morissette, Chappie. A bunch of people are communicating with me on Twitter. Got Randall Monk coming through also. Awesome. Lovely to see some new faces in here. All right, we ready?
Yeah, let's get going.
Okay, cool. So you did not show up for a beer drinking event, although I started it like that. You are here to learn how to master Facebook. We did this a little bit ago, and the results were amazing, or the feedback was amazing, and we wanted to do it again, and this time we're going to do it a little bit different than last time, make it much more open-ended and allow you guys to really interact with us and ask questions. It's going to be much more open format. You'll hear a lot more just kind of, I guess, not banter, but really our goal is to empower you guys with tools and knowledge today that will give you a confidence to go out and realize that Facebook is not this like crazy, horrible, change every day, steal my money type of thing, but actually a really, really useful tool. Now, granted, this is coming from people who have been doing this for years, right? And Jay, on average, what are we thinking? $250 to $350 a month in ad spend between us and clients?
Yeah, and that keeps going up every month.
Yeah. So just to give you guys an idea, you're not getting just like opinions about Facebook when you talk to three of us. You're getting our data that we've been able to collect month in and month out, spending well over $250,000 a month. So that's really what we intend to share with you guys. Now, different people on this webinar or on this presentation are going to be in different places, right? So wherever you are, I want you to feel free to ask whatever question you have. So if you're a beginner and then someone asks this like really advanced question and you're like, holy crap, you know, and you go into your head like, I'm an idiot, I'm a newbie, I don't know anything. I don't want you to think about that. I really want you to just use this time to grow and develop yourself wherever you are, okay? Our promise is that at the end of this, you're going to be empowered by understanding how to market on Facebook like a professional. So no more gambling, no more flushing down money down the toilet, no more trying to figure Facebook out. We're going to show you how it's done or how we do it, right? I mean, I don't know that there's a right or wrong way to do it. There's just one that's profitable and one that's not. So, Guy, anything else you want to add?
The only thing I would add is, you know, our intention, especially with our students that we work really closely with, is that they stop looking at marketing, and I'm getting some feedback too, by the way, is just simply as marketing, but more as an investment vehicle, something that you can predictably put money into, engage with it, and get a return for yourself out, and not just a return, but a return that makes other investments look like really, really bad investments in comparison. So again, yeah, I want to just reiterate that there's no question too small, no question too big. And with that said, I'm going to let Jason take over with his presentation, and we'll kind of fill in the gaps. But don't feel, don't be afraid to ask anything as we go through this. And if we need to stop, we will.
Yeah. So just real quick before I let Jason take the reins, for those of you that don't know who Guy and I are, we're the founders of Satori Prime. We've partnered up with Jason, and it's kind of I'll give you the quick funny story. We were looking for someone to, even though we did our own Facebook marketing, we thought, hey, why not get another expert to use their account and market this and keep growing it? And that's really how this whole thing started. We kind of fell in love with each other in a weird way, both from the way we had a vision of where we wanted to be in business, we had a vision of what we wanted to provide for people, and it was just a match made in heaven. So for those that don't know Jason, okay, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about our business down the road, but for those that don't know Jason, I can wholeheartedly say, and I'm in some amazing masterminds, and I've been, Guy and I have been around Facebook for a long, long time, and around marketing for, probably close to 4 years, let's say. Yet to meet someone with so much integrity, who's humble, who's extremely generous, and is not about money. And on top of it, he just happens to be one of the most ninja smart Facebook marketers I've ever been around. He also has an amazing way to kind of explain and look at data that he collects and figure out what's working. So imagine if you had access to market in 10 different niches, right? And then figure out the patterns. So you're not saying like, oh, this just works here, but it's like, oh, this works over 10 of these different niches with 10 different clients, and I kind of figured out that this thing is working. That's the kind of information that Jason's going to share with you right now. So for those of you that don't know him, you're in for a treat. And then while Jason's kind of doing like the short version of the presentation, and then we're going to do this very like open-ended kind of question-answer thing, I'm going to be trolling Twitter, and I'm going to also be trolling this chat box for any questions.
Not the word you want to use.
Say it again?
Not the word you want to use, but the intention's there.
Whatever. They know what I mean. And looking for questions. So anything that you guys have, please drop it in there. And if I see that there's an opening to kind of pause Jason, I'll do that. Otherwise, we'll do the powwow afterwards. All right, Jay.
All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate that introduction, Elon. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to be here tonight with everybody. Like Elon was saying, we're going to do something totally different tonight. It's not going to be your typical webinar type presentation deal. I do have a few slides that I'm going to share with you, and it's probably going to take me maybe 10 minutes or so to go through that. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to use this to really help you understand this key point that literally is going to make or break you with Facebook ads. And so, we really need to develop the context and the story behind how I discovered this, and that's what I'm going to share with you in the slides. Then after that, I'm going to turn off my presentation mode thing here, and I'll come on camera, and it's just going to be Guy, Elon, and I, and we're just going to be on screen. We're going to do a beer talk with you, and we're going to go through these 3 fundamental secrets to creating Facebook ads that actually turn into money at a profit. And you'll see that all 3 of these different secrets, they're all driven by this main point that I'm going to be driving home to you in the presentation. So that's why it's really important to kind of have that base knowledge, and it's really going to kind of open your eyes throughout this whole thing to a different way of thinking about advertising. And this applies not just in Facebook, it applies to any advertising that you're doing. And in my humble opinion, it is the absolute key to doing any advertising successfully at all. And so I'll go through that in just a moment. I think we're going to probably end up being on here for about 90 minutes tonight. But the cool thing is it's really going to only feel like about 10 minutes to you, because it's going to feel like you're in this, in a conversation with a good buddy or 2 or 3, and we're just having a good talk about business and really trying to help you. So it's going to go by real quick. Make sure you get your questions in there. We're going to answer all those for you, and we'll have a Q&A as well. So let me go into the actual presentation here now, and I really value your time, so I want to make sure that we're clear on who this is for and who it's not for. So if you've ever thought about advertising on Facebook, but you're terrified to jump in the water, this is really for you. If you've tried advertising on Facebook and you just burned a bunch of money with little to no return, this is for you. If you're advertising on Facebook now and you're doing all right, maybe you're making $1.10 back for, maybe you're making back $1.10 for every dollar that you're spending, or maybe $1.50 for every dollar. But you know that there's guys out there, the big boys, that are making $3, $5, or even $16 for every dollar that they're spending, and you want to join that elite group. If any of that sounds like you, pay real close attention, because what you're about to discover will radically change your business and your life for the better. Specifically, you're going to learn a completely new, holistic way of setting up an entire process to convert Facebook traffic into customers at really large ROIs. And like Elon was saying, it's been proven out over multiple markets over an extended period of time with a ton of ad spend. So it's not something that's a flash in the pan. It works for a short period of time kind of thing. All right, so on this session, you're going to get an in-depth kind of case study walkthrough of a Facebook marketing system that generated $990,000 of sales in January of 2014 alone. You're going to get to see behind the scenes of what makes this entire process successful. In fact, this campaign returned $16.67 for every dollar spent on ads. And it was all done with super simple tools that don't really require any technical skill to set up. So that's really nice. I'm going to tell you a story about how you can make 21 grand in one night with a broken Facebook funnel. You see, the point here is that you don't really need to have things perfect. You only have to get this one simple part right to make a ton of money. And then we're going to show you how to set up targeting profiles on Facebook that identify buyers quickly and easily. There's literally no guesswork involved when you do this. Facebook actually does the work for you. You're going to see how to design Facebook ads that get clicked, and they pre-frame your traffic to buy from you, even if you've never created a winning ad before. You're going to discover how to engineer a conversion process that turns your Facebook traffic into buyers without needing any technical or special skills. And you're going to see why not having a system like this is easily preventing you from pocketing at least an extra 20 grand a month. All right, so the big question is, why should you really stay? All right, so I'm going to give you a few reasons. First of all, we're not selling anything on this session. So you can literally put your wallet away, just relax and learn, take a bunch of notes, and apply this stuff in your business. Second, we'll have a live Q&A at the end of the call, so you can get all your questions answered. Elon's going to be answering questions. Guy's going to be answering questions. I'll be answering questions throughout the session. So we're going to make sure that you get, the knowledge base that you need to feel confident, like Elon was saying, to go out and make this a profit center for your business. But last but not least, you're actually going to get a chance to earn 97 bucks today. So to do that, all you have to do is get out pen and paper and take some notes from the session today. And then at the end of the session, I'm going to give you a link to my fan page. And if you go out there, you'll be able to, if you take a picture of your notes that you've taken today on your phone, and then you upload that to our fan page, I'm going to take a look at those different pictures, and I'm going to pick one randomly, and I'll contact you via Facebook on private message, get your PayPal email. I'll PayPal you 97 bucks. So I don't know if you've ever been on something like this before, where somebody's going to actually pay you for taking notes and paying attention, but I'm going to do that today. All right?
Jay,
so,
yeah. Real quick, is your screen showing right now the Facebook conversion code slide?
No, I'm way past that. Are you guys frozen on that?
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Okay. Let me back out of it here.
All right, now it's moving.
Is it good now?
Yeah. Well, now it's on the does this sound like you?
Okay. All right, can you see it still now?
Still, and does this sound like you?
All right, is it rotating through the numbers now?
Nope, not moving.
Okay, I guess I got to do it in this little mode here, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, don't do it in the presenter's view. See if you can do it out of there, and I think you'll be fine.
That was the problem. All right, well, I've been going through this stuff and showing you guys no slides.
Just quickly go through just so they can see the hard work that you put in, the beautiful slides.
Oh, yeah, I know. Actually, I got this gal that does the slides for me. She's really awesome, so if anybody needs to use her, I can refer you out to her. All right, well, let me get back to where I was then. I guess you'll be able to see all this stuff as I'm going, but, you know.
So right now we're seeing slide 17.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, so does this sound like you? Are you sick and tired of buying hyped-up Facebook ads courses that don't deliver any results? Have you been terrified to even launch your first campaign because you secretly know you could lose a lot of money? Did you take the plunge and invest $50, $100, or even a couple $1,000s on Facebook ads only to get killed when no one bought from you? Have you been trying to do joint ventures and affiliate promotions just to avoid getting into Facebook ads? And are you constantly making tweaks and adjustments to create the perfect funnel, but you're too afraid to actually drive traffic into it? Are you spending too much time and money on things that produce zero results? You know what? I got some news for you guys. None of those things are actually your real problem. The real problem, and this is the big point I want to drive home right here, is that you really don't know how to target your entire marketing process to your ideal customer. You see, if you knew how to target the exact customer that you want, your click-through rates, they go through the roof because everybody's clicking on your ads. They're going to see that you're speaking directly to them, which would bring your click costs down, and that brings your ROI way up. Your conversion rates on your websites, they go through the roof because your messaging is targeted exactly to your perfect customer, what they need and what they want to hear. You'll have a constant flow of high-quality leads coming into your system on autopilot, and people would happily buy from you more frequently and at higher prices because they've developed a bond through you with your marketing. And this will give you a reliable and predictable cash flow, which will literally eliminate your stress and anxiety and allow you to truly enjoy your business and life. See, when you target your marketing process to the exact customer you want, everything works. When you don't, everything is a struggle. Right, so on this session, we're going to talk about how to target your Facebook ads in a really amazing, awesome way. That's the first part. Then we're going to talk about how to design your ads for maximum conversion. And then we're also going to talk about how to have your website optimized to turn those clicks into customers. Now, when you get this, Facebook literally becomes, and I know this sounds really freaking hypey, and I don't really like hype, but it really kind of becomes your personal ATM. It's literally like a gold mine, like it is for me and my clients and Guy and Elon. That's where we make all of our money. Every day I wake up in the morning and I know that for every $1 that I spend on Facebook traffic, I'm going to get at least $2 back. It happens like clockwork every single day, and that's what I'm doing for my clients as well, and that's really what I want to give you guys today. So by the end of the webinar, you're going to have a roadmap for making this kind of ROI on Facebook. All right, so my name is Jason Hornung. You've heard that already, and I'm personally responsible for managing little over $201,000 of monthly ad spend on Facebook, and that keeps growing, as I said before. Just in the first half of 2014 alone, we generated over $3.2 million in sales for our clients and for ourselves exclusively through Facebook ads. I own the Jason Hornung Agency Incorporated. We've become one of the most exclusive and most sought-after Facebook advertising agencies in the world. We've had our work featured on CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. And people these days kind of believe I've always been, one of these leading authorities on converting Facebook ads into windfall profits. It really wasn't the case. I certainly wasn't always the kind of guy who had clients that include some of the world's greatest online marketers like Ryan Deiss, Frank Kern, Mike Filsaime, and Andy Jenkins, and Todd Brown. I mean, I literally remember this as if it was yesterday. It was May 12th of 2013. I was hanging out with my wife, Heather, and the two of us were just lounging on our living room couch, sipping vodka and cranberry cocktails. And by the way, that's the drink that I have here tonight. And to be honest, I was really bummed out that day. I mean, I was burning the candles at both ends of my business, trying all sorts of unsuccessful advertising methods to grow my business, including I just had blew $1,500 on Facebook ads the day before, trying to figure that out. And it simply wasn't going to get any better unless I took some action, and I did, just like you're about to today. However, even though I knew I was ready for a change, I needed one more thing to really push me over that edge. And see, that day, my two youngest daughters, they were fighting in the bathroom, so I walked upstairs. Then right there in that moment, it happened. I freaking lost it. You know, all that stress and anxiety that had been building up in me, it just came out in this mad rage. I started screaming at my girls so loud they were both terrified of me. I couldn't stand seeing how much they were crying out. And Heather had to come up and just get me to shut up and lay off of them. And after that, I felt like the biggest jackass in the world. Like, you know, I had failed to live up to my family, to their expectations, and really what they wanted out of me. And so I decided at that very moment that I would make a change that would affect my life forever. See, I decided I will never ever let growing my business cause me to lash out like this again. And I'm going to find a way to advertise on Facebook successfully or literally die trying. And I swore I'd read 100 books, scour the internet, research journals, and pick the brains of the top pros to discover the secrets of successful Facebook advertising. And thanks to that fateful vodka cranberry cocktail rage, I uncovered the formula, and it's one that works for just about anyone and works every time. And today, that's what you're gonna discover. So now remember, despite my success today, I'm really no different than you. I'm just a guy who stumbled upon a really effective system. This is a formula designed with you in mind and tailored for folks like us who demand more. And this little formula will get you the excitement that comes from having a consistent flow of targeted Facebook traffic that converts into leads and sales. This is the system that I've used to take my business from back in May of last year of making only a little over $4,000 a month to now having months where we're topping $75,000. And it's the exact same system that we're going to be sharing with you today so you can finally experience results like that for yourself. I'll share all the specifics with you in just a moment. The first thing is I feel I must make a confession. You see, when I first jumped on Facebook ads, it was amazing. Every ad worked and made money. It was wide open and you could get clicks for really cheap. It was super cool, and then, you know, all of a sudden everybody jumped on the bandwagon. Everybody got super excited and the whole thing became competitive. You know, I really knew stuff hit the fan one day when my best ad went from making me $714 a day to losing $500 a day overnight. It forced me to shut down all my ads and really kind of assess the situation. So what I did was I started spending just hours poring over all the ads that were plastered in my news feed constantly. I'd click on all of them. I'd start studying their entire marketing funnel, reverse engineering the whole thing. I mean, I probably spent 10 hours looking at Guy and Elon's ads alone. And, you know, after doing this stuff for 3 days straight, it hit me like a ton of bricks in the face. Everybody was doing and saying essentially the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples of what I'm talking about. See, what do these ads have in common? This one, this one, this one. They're all saying the exact same stuff, and they're being really general. And I realized this, and I said, you know what? If these guys are talking to everybody, they're really not talking to anybody. Or if everybody is your customer, then nobody is really your customer. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to go the opposite way. And I'm going to get real ultra specific about who I want to go after. I'm going to make everything in my marketing target toward the exact person that I want. So I stayed up all night that night developing this system to create this huge profile of the exact kind of person I wanted to work with, the exact kind of customers I wanted. And then I set up my ads and my entire marketing funnel and all the targeting and all that stuff to go after those exact people. I submitted a campaign to Facebook, went to bed. I never really thought it was going to work, but the next morning I woke up reluctantly to check my stats. I was seriously expecting to have lost a bunch of money again. But boy, was I wrong. That little campaign was a beast. The ad had an 11.2% CTR. It was getting clicks for 19 cents and produced 291 leads, which led to $2,497 in profit. So then I started implementing the same strategies with my clients, and they got incredible results too. This one here is Kevin Lane. So you'll see here Kevin wrote me this message on Facebook when he closed another deal for $6,000. When he came on board with me, he was doing about $10,000 a month, and through the Facebook ads that we created for him, we were able to bump him up to between $18,000 and $24,000 a month. He was really happy with all the results, and he wrote all that fun stuff about us on there today. Then this is a testimonial from Alan McKenna. He's one of my business partners. He refers clients to me, and one of our mutual clients is Kendall Summerhawk. And so she was not running Facebook ads at all, and we started running ads into a funnel that she was driving JV traffic into. And immediately within the first 30 days, we started getting a 342% return on investment. We've been working together since March now, and we consistently get her over $2.50 for every dollar that she spends on Facebook. So if you fast forward to today, I've managed to build my business, like I said before, where we're having months over 75,000, and that's every single month. So this is really not something that started working and stopped. This is something that sustained itself, and because of these sustained results, it's really the reason that I've been blessed to work with guys like Frank Kern, where Frank wrote in and he gets $2.17 back for every dollar that he spends on Facebook with me. And Ryan Dice, in January alone, we did $990,000 of sales on about $56,000 in ad spend from Facebook ads that I did for him. And so that's kind of opened up the opportunity where they work with me on an ongoing basis on different things, and both of them have invited me to do speaking engagements at events that they hold. So what I really want you guys to really understand, and this is the main point, and this is going to feed into the secrets that Guy and Elon and I are going to go over here in a moment. You really have to understand who your ideal customer is, and you have to then design everything that you're doing around going after that ideal person. All right, so that really is the conclusion of the main presentation point here. Now I'm going to pull this out and then bring my camera back on.
Even though your name is Heather.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful Heather you make. Good to see you, brother. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So, I mean, guys, the first secret that I wanted to share with everybody, and I'll just kind of start this off, and then maybe since I've been talking a whole bunch, I'll let my nasty voice rest a little bit and give you guys some time to talk. But the first secret that I wanted to really drive home was really teaching people how to engineer a conversion process that turns Facebook ads from $1 into $2 pretty much every time. And I think the key idea behind this is really understanding your numbers. Like, can you share some of your thoughts on numbers, Guy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always like to make, with our students, I like to make the analogy to Shark Tank. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty obsessed with Shark Tank. DVR all the time and watch it. I've learned a ton from there because what I would almost say this past year, that show might be single-handedly responsible for my new mindset in marketing, where I really stopped thinking about like marketing and I started thinking about like investing. But I want to give you guys the analogy, when somebody walks in there, it doesn't matter how great of an idea they have, but they don't know their numbers. Do they ever get the deal? They never do, right? And the reason for that is because no investor is ever going to risk their money that way. But if you think about how most people are marketing online, that's exactly what they're doing. It's one big crapshoot. It's just hucking things at the wall, hoping they work out, and think about how many entrepreneurs walk into that place and in front of people who are masters of business, approach them and say, this is what I'm doing in my business right now. I have no idea what it costs me to acquire a customer. I don't know what that value of that customer is to my business. I don't know how long they stay with me, how many times they come back. Don't know anything about my customer. And they just go, well, you're crazy, right? We're never going to give you money. So in that same token, I want you to start thinking that if that's how you're approaching your marketing and that's how you're approaching your business right now, you're kind of crazy too. And I can't blame you because there's nobody out there really teaching this stuff. You know, obsessively, every Facebook marketing course that I ever took a look at was concerned with two things, CPC and CTR, right? And most people are optimizing their campaigns based on those two things, and they are constantly tinkering. And look, we did that for years too, right? And it never really led me to breakthrough results. It doesn't mean we didn't make money, but it was never with that consistency that Jason's talking about. You know, making $75K to $100,000 a month, that's amazing. That's consistent. That's something you could look at and say, wow, look what I've built here. If you have, you know, $2,000 trickling in one month, even if you made $20,000 or $30,000 the next month, but the month after that it's back down to $2,000, do you really know what you're doing right now? Again, you're still kind of hucking it at the wall. So we see that when people have early on success, it's like the kiss of death, right? Because they suddenly think they know what they're doing. They approach things like it's luck, you know, that people are making money with luck, but it really is a skill that you must master like any other skill on the planet. So I can't emphasize enough how much looking at the data, understanding tracking and analytics is critical for your ability to scale, duplicate, and build your business consistently over a period of time. So even if you have a small budget right now, the one takeaway I want you to take away from what I just said right now is even if all you have is $500 this month to spend on Facebook marketing, and you haven't yet invested in some kind of tracking system, I would prefer that you go out and spend even $100, which you don't have to. They're significantly cheaper. But just to keep the numbers nice and simple, I prefer that you go out there, spend $100 a month on a tracking system that's going to show you data that's going to allow you to optimize, make proper decisions about your marketing campaigns, and only spend $400 on the marketing, because those $400 are going to go twice as far as the $500 you would have spent had you not done that. So if you're currently not tracking what you're doing, whether it's inside or outside of Facebook, I am literally begging you to go right now and shut down all your campaigns. You know, like don't make yourself too wrong. If you want to, just put your hand out here and like slap it real quick and just get over that you haven't done that. But it's one of the biggest mistakes we see people going into the industry doing, and I can't emphasize enough how important that actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question for everybody in the audience right now, and I asked this when I spoke at Frank Kern's event a week ago in San Diego. What do you think is the #1 metric in your business? Go ahead and put that in the chat box.
Yeah. I'm actually curious to see before I give you.
What people, yeah. But I just want to kind of say what after what Guy was talking about. Look, dumb luck will only take you so far. Okay. We had a person in our mastermind in the last class, and hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing the story, but he's a very successful guy, you know, like an affiliate manager for quite a large company. And I said to him, I said, you know, why are you coming to us? Like, why are you looking to do this? And he said, well, I can make $20,000 one month, and then my next month I'll do 120, and then I go back to 20, and then I go up to 80, and he's like, you know, for some of you, you're listening, you're like, fuck, well, I'll take that any day, right? But like, it's not a business. That's like a gambling habit that just happens to sometimes win and sometimes win less. But this guy is like, I can't go buy a house, I can't go buy a car, I don't know how much money I'm gonna make any single month, and it all came down to this exact thing. Like, if you are not tracking what is working, I don't care how lucky you are, you cannot scale a business, and you cannot reliably count on that business, because dumb luck, like I said, will only take you so far. So like Guy said, if you are not tracking right now, whether you're making money or not, I would just stop your ads and rethink your strategy, because I'm telling you right now, it's not taking you to where you want to go. Period.
Yep. And the other small shift I would make, and it's a really small shift just in distinction and looking at how you're spending your money, right? Like, again, most people look at things that they're doing as expenditures in their business. So here's my expense. So I've expensed $3,000 in marketing this month. What do I get back for it? And again, like, I really want to shift you away from this mindset of like scarcity into a mindset of an investor, right? So how does an investor look at things? They're investing into something. And usually when we start any marketing campaign, especially when we're going into a niche that we've never been in before, there's a period of time where we need to collect data, right? We need to understand the psychology, we need to understand the psychological profile and the what people call the avatar of these people, and there's a period of time where we call it the data acquisition stage. But even though that's an expense, it really isn't, because you're investing money into collecting data that's going to enable you to figure out how to best make money within that niche, within that psychological profile. So it's really, really important that you guys start looking at everything that you're doing, in your business, in your marketing, wherever you're putting your money. It's an investment in some kind of education. But a lot of you guys wrote it in the sidebar over there. Really, your opinion, our opinion, everyone else's opinion in the industry, people who stand on stage like gurus and tell you what to think and what to do and tell you if you go do X, Y, Z, you're going to get those results. I've been at those events. I've done what they said. You don't get those results because they're framing it in a specific way under which they got those experiences and those results. It's not, you can't paint anything with a broad brush. In fact, I'll tell you that every time I start a campaign, and Jason, you can chime in on it too, I have to treat it like it's a brand new child. Like I just brought a brand new kid into this world, and I have to figure out all its characteristics. I have to figure out what it likes, what it doesn't like, and that's per campaign. And that could be in the same campaign, in the same niche, marketing the same thing. A brand new campaign, it's a brand new thing every single time. So, again, our opinions don't matter. What matters is the data. And to just answer the question that Jason put out there, for me, the most important figure is return on investment. Okay, so I'll give you guys an example. Elon and I market a top-tier opportunity, right? It's an awesome company, but I don't want to pitch the company to you. I'm just saying we market a top-tier opportunity. Now, we are in our mastermind, and we said, hey, how many of you guys want to get leads for $5? And obviously everyone's like, yeah, that'd be the best. Qualified leads for $5. And they said, how many of you guys would like to get the same leads for $30? And everyone's like, not me. So we go back and look at our reports, and we give them the specific 30-day period of time in our business. And what we're selling specifically on the front end is applications to become part of this community, this powerful marketing community. And we show them, so an average customer acquisition cost for this company is give or take about $500 or so. So we show them $32 leads that we're acquiring on Facebook, but the acquisition of a customer at that lead cost is $280, okay, on average. Now I show them lead cost of where I'm doing between $5 and $7 and show them that a $5 to $7 lead is converting on the back end at about $700 to $900 acquisition for that customer. So it's really deceiving to look at certain numbers like CTR and like CPC, because I've had plenty of campaigns, Jason, I know you've had plenty of campaigns, where the CTR is abysmal, cost per click is rather high, but it's converting like crazy on the back end because I'm getting very quality leads. And then vice versa. So a lot of you guys kind of hit on the head. The numbers that are really important to you are how much is it costing you to acquire the customer, what's the lifetime value of that customer to you, and what's the return on the investment that you're getting. But that last number to me is the most important part, right? Because as long as there's return, like Jason said, I could put $1 in, get $2 out, that's a massive return on my money.
Yep. So I wanted to kind of go through some of the responses that people had put in here, and then kind of reiterate the point that you made and add my take on it real quick here. But like Jay said, cost per lead. Lisa said cost per lead. We had EPC greater than CPC, traffic, ROI, like you said, cost per conversion, lifetime value, average customer value. And so, I would say from designing a conversion process perspective that will turn $1 into $2, for me the most important metric is that average customer value, because that really kind of drives me into understanding the second most important metric, which is your average cost to acquire a customer.
Correct.
And so if you're only paying attention to those two metrics in your business, you can win, because as long as you make your lifetime customer value greater than your cost to acquire a customer, you win, and you're going to always have an ROI. Absolutely. What are your thoughts on that, Guy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you're basically just summarizing what I said. Yeah, guys, look, let the numbers speak, right? Usually what I see, again, is that people start the campaign, they're tinkering around, with their copy and with their images, and that stuff is fine. It's fine, but if you haven't made a sale yet, if you haven't gotten a result that you set out to get with that campaign, what are you really optimizing for? You know, now you're just optimizing to have a campaign that gets a lot of clicks. So what? It's great that your clicks are through the roof, but maybe it has something to do with the messaging, and that audience is just curious because the copy created curiosity, but it's not really framing what they're seeing on the back end. So you really need to kind of, what I say is like, get your feet, you know, like lift your head. Stop looking just at your feet when you're walking because you're missing a lot of the picture. You really need to take the entire funnel into the account when you're looking at what is it that you're optimizing versus just what's happening right on the front end. Now, if you're doing like a simple CPA offer and it's paying you out every time you create an action, that's fine. You're right. You can look at it a little bit on a quicker, what's happening kind of like in and out situation. But if you have a funnel that takes time to bring people through, for them to buy the first product, upsell to the second product, third product, so on and so forth, you know, it's a process. There's an education that people got to go through, and you got to give it a fair chance to understand really, you know, what's the process they got to go through, and how much is that person of value to you throughout the entire funnel. Hey, did we lose everybody?
I was out. I got kicked out.
Yeah, I got kicked out too. I think we're okay though. Let me just see Webinar Jam if that's still running.
It looks like it is. I'm trying to open it.
Okay.
We may need.
Still showing 63 viewers in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay. Hopefully they can hear me. Let's just double check. Can we ask them if we're still okay?
It's still trying to open Webinar Jam on my end right now.
Yeah, mine too.
Yep. Oh, sweet, sweet internet gremlins. There we go. Just check. I was like, what did I do?
No, we broke it.
No, my voice breaks things. I mean, Webinar Jam should be fine. All right, I think we're coming back online.
I mean, I got the little red thing.
We're good. We're back.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right, guys. So I mean, like, bottom line is, whatever funnel you're creating, guys, invest money to understand how that campaign functions with the customers that you're looking for. And for some of you guys, that might mean an investment of running a single campaign ongoingly for 3, 4, 5, 6 months till you really understand what your customers are doing once they're inside that funnel. But understand that even if you invested $10,000 to acquire that data over those 6 months, once you know what makes that funnel tick, you'll always be able to turn it around because your next $10,000 is going to generate you an endless stream of income. So you really got to get flexible and comfortable with that part of it. And that's where, like, you know, people like Jason and us, we've just grown a kind of like a thick threshold for our ability to get through that phase without too much fear. Most people just have too much fear they won't do that investment part of it.
I don't know who's Bill. You know him, yeah, Jay?
Maybe.
he told me to ask you about some story about Patron shots, so I'm assuming he knows you. But in any event, he's
I might have been at John Tar's event.
Okay, there it is. So anyway, so I don't know who Bill is, but definitely a smart dude. Likes good single malt scotch, so that's a plus. But he was also saying something really smart, which I don't think either of you guys said. Your lifetime customer value, in my opinion, is the most important number. Why? Because that's what's going to allow you to know what you can spend in marketing. Once you understand that acquiring a customer is costing you X, right? That's a great number. But what you want to know is, after you acquire that customer, how much is that customer worth in your hands? And you can do this on a month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. You can look at that. But if you know that your customer value is 1,000, for example, that means that you can spend $500 to acquire that customer and still be doubling your money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, Bill said something really smart. He goes, the higher your lifetime customer value, the more you're willing to spend to acquire that customer. And those who can spend the most amount of money to acquire a customer are generally the ones that win. So as a caveat to a lot of people, because I know I have a lot of like, you know, some of you guys are going to ask to speak with us. So I'm probably going to be the guy that speaks to most of you, if not all of you. And one of like the things that I hate to break news to people, but I do it because I don't know how to sugarcoat shit, I guess like the Israeli in me, is that if you're out there as an affiliate marketer trying to hawk like $47 products, well, guess what? A, Facebook doesn't like you. That's one. B, your lifetime customer value is going to be so low, and Facebook just gets more and more expensive and more competitive, like Jason was saying, every single day. Not year, every single day. So sometimes I'm like the bearer of, I think it's good news because I'm kind of trying to steer people away from spending a lot of time on shitty business models, but look, that model is not getting you to the goals that you want, and it's because of these numbers that we're talking about. So look, if you do the math, right? You earn, say you're selling a $47 product, say you earn 50% of that, so let's say benefit of the doubt, it's $25, right? That means that even if you were able to acquire a customer for $20, you're literally making 25% return on your money, which, look, if you take that out into the real world, that's amazing, okay? But $5 is the profit that you're making on that situation. Reverse engineer how much money you want to make in the year. Figure out how many of those $5 sales you need to make, and you'll quickly realize that that is not a great business model. All right?
Yeah.
So it's really important to like have all this stuff in your head as you're thinking about your Facebook marketing. Take it away, Jason.
One of the big things that I see when people come to me is many people don't really, they're like starting a new funnel, or they're starting a new division of their business, so they don't really know what their lifetime customer value is yet. So it kind of leaves them in a funk, and they don't really know. They don't know anything about the funnel yet because they haven't run any traffic into it yet. They haven't generated any customers. So it gets to be this really freaking scary like thing that it just feels like they're kind of pouring money down a black hole. And so what I've been doing a lot lately with people is taking them through an exercise where we're able to kind of leverage different benchmarks that we've established from working across all these different markets over the last almost 2 years now. And so then that really kind of helps people to understand, how they have to engineer their conversion process to be able to turn $1 into $2.
Yeah.
So what I kind of wanted to share in this section, where I think would add the most value to people that are on right now, is kind of how we walk through that exercise, because I think that there's a lot of people that are sitting here right now that aren't like the Bills in the world, which I do remember the Bill who it is now. Before I can tell all this stuff, I got to tell this really funny story. Okay?
I think Bill's going to shit himself if you tell that story.
He probably is. So we were at John Tarr's event out in Phoenix, and we all went out drinking one night, and we were having Patron shots like Bill was saying, and I ended up giving Bill a ride back to his room, and then I drove back. I was at a different hotel, and we get back to the event the next morning, and Bill comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, did I leave my wallet in your car?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." But we went down to the car, and we're looking all through the car, and we can't find it anywhere, and we decide to give up. And Bill shuts the door, and he looks down, and I got a SUV, so I got these running boards on the side of my car, and on the freaking running board was his wallet.
Wow! And you were driving the whole time.
I was driving the whole time, dude. I went on the interstate, and I was going like 65 down the interstate. Somehow his wallet stayed right there.
Wow.
Oh, you got someone looking out for you, brother.
Yeah. Angels, buddy. Angels.
Oh, he was like canceling his credit cards and everything that day.
He's not happy. Bill, that's not so bad. I was thinking like way worse.
Nice. All right, so let's talk strategy.
That's
but
funny.
anyway, so like the exercise that I try to take people through is like you got to look at, okay, so how is your funnel designed right now, and then let's look at some basic benchmarks and kind of reverse engineer the numbers. So I'm just going to use a typical funnel that people usually have when they come to me, and this is an example from I get a lot of referrals from Digital Marketer. And so they're doing the Ryan Dice Tripwire funnel thing for a lot of these guys, where they got the low ticket, they got a squeeze page, a $7 offer, then they got like a $2.97 offer, and then there's possibly other offers on the back end depending on the situation. And so, you know, I tell these guys, all right, well, let's take a look at what typical numbers are. So I tell them, you know, on a squeeze page, usually you're going to be 15 to 20% conversion if you're doing okay. We can get a lot higher, but I usually will kind of use the 20% benchmark right there. Then I tell them, look, on a Tripwire offer, we've seen this across so many different markets that you're going to, at best, you're going to have 10% of the people that opt in will buy a $7 product. Then I tell them, look, if if the next upsell at the $2.97, typically we see if you're doing really good, you're going to have 25 to 30% of the people that bought the $7 product will also buy the $2.97 product. And so when you crunch the numbers, it doesn't really come out all that favorably, especially when you're looking at what Facebook traffic costs. So I'm actually gonna I'm just gonna take a look at, this is a notebook that I use where I calculate this stuff out. This was the last guy I talked to about this. Basically, what I tell everybody is you should be prepared to pay $1 a click on Facebook as well. So we just kind of, reverse engineered all those numbers, and we figured out that they would spend $500 and make $388 with that funnel model. And they didn't have anything else in on the back end to try to accelerate and make the profit up.
Yep. Okay.
So that's why you got to know like these numbers throughout the funnel, and you also need to know your lifetime customer value, because if they knew that the average person ended up buying another $1,000 of stuff from them through other things they had on the back end within the next 3 to 6 months, they might be okay with those numbers. But they didn't have any of that in place. So basically what they had in place was a funnel that was going to lose money.
Yeah.
So what I just want to do is we need to get another offer in here so that we can get some conversions on that and accelerate that.
Yeah, exactly. I love that we have conversations with people, whether it's just a consulting thing or whether they actually become a client of ours, whatever, and they come to us with these like brand new ideas or funnels. The beauty is, like we said before, opinions, this is like one of my favorite quotes, opinions are like assholes, everyone's got one and they all stink. You just got to look at data, and the beauty of what we have is because we're running traffic for so many different niches and so many different people in so many different niches, we get access to that data. So it's like, yes, you can go to a funnel expert guru person and they'll be like, this is the funnel that you should build. Well, bullshit, because maybe in your niche, that funnel sucks, right? It's all about context and what it is, and the beauty of the knowledge that we've gained. And I mean, we've spoken about this. It's like amazing. People pay us for us to get smarter. It's kind of nuts, but that's what you can tap into. It's because we didn't make this shit up. We just test a whole bunch of stuff, and then we figure out like this works, this works, this works, and that's why we feel so confident that when someone comes to us and says like, well, I have this untested thing, we already know, well, look, you're in this to one of our other clients, this is what's working for them, duplicate that, and right off the bat, we know that you're going to succeed because we've already done it. It's like the rinse and repeat model versus just like sitting there twiddling and buying a media spend of like $25K to try to figure shit out. That's a bad idea.
Yep.
Well, and see, the nice thing, and this is why really to be able to engineer a conversion process or a process that will convert Facebook traffic from $1 into $2, you really have to know the numbers, because then what you can do is when you crunch these numbers, and if you're starting off new and you're working with benchmarks, or if you're already established and you're just you're working off of your own numbers. What you start to do then is you gradually drive some traffic through it, see how it actually converts. You compare that to where you need to be to hit your goals, and then you can manipulate the different factors in the funnel until you hit that point. You see, because I have yet to see, and I don't know if this has been your guys' experience, but I have yet to see where I can put a funnel together based on my own ideas of how people are going to convert and interact, set it out there, turn ads in it, and have it work exactly the fucking way I want it to.
Yep.
It doesn't happen. And so if you don't know like how everything's going through the funnel and where you need to be, you don't know what to do next. And then you're just left, a lot of people are just left believing that, hey, the advertising ain't working. But it really isn't. There's something broken throughout the funnel. It may be your messaging, it may be your squeeze page conversion, it may be the VSL conversion. It can be any number of things, but when you know where you should be and where you want to get to, then you can kind of manipulate those different factors to make it end up working.
Jason, I want to ask you a question because we've done this for a few of our clients and actually had some pretty amazing results that kind of blew the client's mind who is in that niche, right? Like they're experts in that niche. Can you just tell people a little bit about the survey model that we do before we ever go out and launch a campaign for someone to kind of like test the water on Facebook? Because every time I share that with someone, they're like, holy shit, that's smart. And I honestly don't know of anyone else that I've spoken to that actually takes the time to do that.
Yeah, as far as agencies are concerned, I don't know anybody else doing it. I mean, I got to give the credit to Ryan Levac. That's who I learned the survey funnel model from. But the reason that we apply it in certain particular situations is a lot of guys, this particular client, he didn't know exactly what the market wanted, and he wanted to create a system to be able to, leverage Facebook to make money in his business. He knew it can be a profit center and where he can reach his ideal customer, but he didn't know exactly how to put everything together. So what we decided to do was use Facebook traffic specifically to run them through this sophisticated survey where we gave them a really good lead magnet basically to give us certain specific data that we were looking for that would help us drive the decisions in designing the product and the funnel for them. And so we put together ads, we drove them to a landing page where they completed the survey to get the lead magnet, and then we were able to take the data from that and analyze it using the processes that Ryan teaches, and that helped us to determine exactly what the market wanted, and we're now having this client build the product based off of exactly what people on Facebook are telling him that he wants, instead of him guessing at what people want or what might sell. He's actually creating something that people want, and so when you do that, that's a formula for success.
Yeah, I want to just point out two things because you said you said a lot of smart things, but two really smart things that I really want to drive home for people. You can have a really successful funnel off of Facebook, and it won't function the same on Facebook. So a lot of the times people will come to us and they have, JV deals or, their own list or whatever. Facebook is a different beast, right? And so why is this survey so powerful? And I want to give you guys a real-world example because there's two, but I'll give you the most recent one. We work with a guy in the tennis niche who creates info products around tennis. And look, like he knows that market, right? He knows the products that people buy, and in that world, Jason, remember what he said? Serving courses are the ones that outsell everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we told him, look, let's do this process. And again, guys, this is not like a super expensive thing to do. We didn't go out and spend $50,000 to do this. I think he spent like $1,500 on ads.
$1,500 on ads.
And we do it in a way where he's actually making money, but the money's not the point, is to get the data. And what we found out was that the biggest struggle for people in that world on Facebook, now I'm not saying in his other channels, on Facebook, that's why this is important, is that people felt like they could get on the court after taking lessons and watching all these courses and whatever, felt good on a practice court, and got onto in a match, and everything went out the window. So like for them, the mindset of actual match play was the #1 thing. Now here's the funny part. He's never created a course about that. Guess what he's the most passionate about? Tennis. That exact topic. But he's like, no one's going to fucking buy this thing. And yet we ran a small test. You know how excited this guy was? He's like, are you kidding me? I get to create a course about my favorite topic, and I know that that's the #1 thing that now people want on Facebook. He's ecstatic, right? Like, how excited was he? He was like, oh, I got this guy, he's flying in, I'm making videos, blah, blah. So,
yeah.
That's the thing, like, I think people try to make everything the same. Media buy, you know, display advertising, its own world. Google PPC, its own world. Email marketing, its own world. Now, do you have some strings of, like, you know, numbers we look for and things like that across the board that are fundamental? 100%. But just because you've been successful there does not mean you're going to be successful on Facebook. And that's, I think, another big reason that people who are successful out there tend to lose a lot of money on Facebook, because they come in and they're like, oh, well, I know how to do Google PPC, and they come in and do Facebook, and they get their asses handed to them because people like us are in the trenches every day working it, right? But likewise, when we go to Google PPC or we go to display networks, right, it's like
get killed.
We're lost.
Get killed also in the beginning. So you just got to keep that in mind, that everything is specific to Facebook.
By the way, is my audio working? I think I finally got it back.
Yeah.
Last like 15 minutes, it was not going anywhere. I also want to make a distinction, because I don't want to scare people with, like, you got to know your lifetime value, because if you're just starting a business or you just start a funnel, you're like, I don't know my lifetime value of my customer. It's going to take me 3 months, 6 months, a year to figure that out, right? And it's fine, guys, because it doesn't mean you can't make money during that stage. The distinction I wanted to give you is that number is important to figure out eventually. The quicker you can get to that number, the better. But obviously, if you're selling a continuity product, you know, people might be around for 18 months. You don't really know how long they're going to stick around. But why that number is so critical is because once you have it, you know the exact amount of dollars you could spend for an acquisition of a customer. And it doesn't mean that every single customer is going to equal that value. But when it comes to looking at data, the thing that's so critical is understanding averages, or what we call your baseline averages, right? The moment you have your baseline averages, what you're working with is statistical variance that is either lower or higher than that. And that allows you to constantly shift and maneuver, make decisions with your campaigns. Again, like the way that most people have been taught to do anything is to be like really rigid. It's like, I know this, I need to know this, right? And it's like this rigidity that gets us in trouble with our learning habits, because then stuff happens and it doesn't fit into our model, and we go, well, I don't know what to do right now, right? So every time you go buy a course and somebody's telling you that they have this ultimate blueprint to make money, it creates in your mind like there's a way to do something. I could tell you that, like, Jason and I have to get on the phone all the time to, like, mastermind, to think, to creatively think outside of what we've thought before, or even bring in somebody else, like, as a outside resource to teach us about that niche, have us understand the psychology, have us understand something or things in a different angle than we looked at them before. And this is what we call, like, the stage of mastery. And by the way, Elon and I are reading an amazing book. You guys should all go get it. It's incredible. It's called Mastery by Robert Greene. It just really spells out this process that you have to go through from practitioner. What's the stages? Practitioner, student. No, I'm sorry, I'm messing it up.
Student, practitioner, master.
Master, right. So when you're a master, these things become like a dance. Like, it's coming and you, like, move with it. You become really fluid in your action, and you're not just thanks, Bill. And, you know, you don't just look at things that way. So, you know, look where you're weak, and then just go find somebody, like, even if it's somebody like us and you want to ask a question, or, you know, a lot of you guys are going to have an opportunity to even talk to me or Elon or even Jason. You know, like, get in the habit of getting out of your own way. It's a huge, huge issue, and that's why 97% of most industries, people are failing, because they think that there's one way to do everything. We have to amend what we do and change what we do nearly on a daily basis with Facebook. But what gives us a leg up on most people is we're able to spend so much money and be in so many niches that when we see a change, right, like, from one day to another day, like it's just completely an anomaly day, I'll call up someone like Jason, or mostly Jason because we just work together a lot, and say, hey man, are you noticing the same things today? If he's not, and if we go check in with somebody else and they're not also, we know that that's our problem, right? If everybody's seeing the same problem, we know that Facebook's changed something today, and we got to go figure out what did they change today, because something in the algorithm threw off all our analytics. But because of our ad spend, we have a massive advantage in looking into and theorizing at a high level as to what's actually changing. And that's, that's the great part of, I mean, that's why I feel like we're so fortunate. But we had to earn it. It didn't fall into our laps.
Yep,
Jay,
absolutely.
I just want to ask, because Bill asked a couple of good questions. He said about the survey thing. He asked 2 questions. Do you mean a survey lander or doing a survey ahead of time? And he said, are you testing the creatives in the survey or the product?
So yeah, we do a survey lander. So we drive the traffic to a landing page where we offer a lead magnet if they complete a survey form right on the page. And we usually use a custom form that will integrate with whatever autoresponder system the client's using. So oftentimes it ends up being Infusionsoft. Now what we were doing specifically in that case was we were asking questions to figure out how to design a product that would be unique in the marketplace that people were specifically looking for at that time. Now you can use the same process to develop lead magnets. You can use it to develop your product ideas. Either of those 2 things will work. But yeah, that's generally how we do that.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, I remember in the bodybuilding example, these guys had like everything set up, and it was all about bodybuilding and getting big and all that stuff. And we did the survey, and they were 80+% were looking for meal plan, not like workouts or supplements or routines or whatever. Like, you go back with that data to a client before they ever launch a campaign. They went back and they changed everything, because it's like all the landing pages are crap now because they're not talking to the person. At least on Facebook, right? Like, that shit may have worked elsewhere, but on Facebook, they want to gear the messaging. So it's much more than just testing the product or the landing page or whatever. It's like, when you know what someone's looking for and what their biggest pain point is or whatever, all of your messaging, your landing page, your ad copy, the articles you write, every piece of content can now be congruent with that message, and you're delivering on what people actually want on Facebook versus what you think people want. Again, guys, what are we trying to inject here? I think it's kind of like the thread throughout all this is critically think and look at data. Your opinions don't matter a damn. Ours don't matter a damn, and we know a lot about this stuff. Before the bodybuilding guy, what did we have? Like, at least 4 or 5 different offers in that exact niche. Like, we knew that niche, and we still did the process, right? It's just amazing. Data is everything.
All right, so you said a couple things there that really kind of led me into wanting to kind of wrap up this point, and I really just wanted to tie it all back to that. Really, in order to be able to engineer that conversion process, you have to really know your customer, and you have to know the numbers. And so that's what the whole survey thing was for, was to really figure out, okay, who is the customer and what does the customer want, which ties back to that main point that I made in the first presentation, and then it's really knowing your numbers. Then from there, you can design your entire process in mind with knowing what the customer wants, but then also you can look at benchmarks if it's brand new, or you can look at your existing numbers, and then you can just reverse engineer all that stuff to see where you need to be at each point in the funnel in order to get the kind of ROI that you want. And so when you know all that, then you know exactly how to put that together. I mean, how cool is that? Right? I mean, you now know you can go into anything open-eyed, and you can know that you're going to make money or not. So I mean, isn't that amazing? Isn't that something that you guys would want to be able to do? I think that's pretty eye-opening, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I think
nothing like it on the planet.
Probably move on to the second point, right, guys?
Yep. Do it.
All right, cool. So let's.
That was just one. That was just 1 point.
That was 1 point.
Damn, we're good.
I'm gonna need more beer.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a cocktail break here soon too.
All right, so hold on 1 second. I just want to point something out, Jason, because someone I don't know who said this, but like this is the exact thing that we're trying to get you away from. So I'm sorry if I'm making you sound like I'm not trying to make you wrong or whatever, whoever this is. But someone said, can you show us live examples of landing pages you use so we can model them? And that's exactly what we're saying does not work. Look, guys, there is no landing page that works. There is none.
There's no secret sauce. There's no such thing.
There's a whole thing, right? There's like the target audience. And then I can give you the best landing page for something, but if that audience doesn't resonate with that landing page, then guess what? That landing page is shit in that market. Everything is customized. So like asking a question like that, I know that who is ever asking that question, you're fishing for an end-all, be-all answer. They do not exist. They do not exist.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about landing pages too. Like, because we test that stuff to the hill, and so most people are only looking at, they're only evaluating a landing page based on how does it convert. Yep. You know, what's the conversion rate on that landing page. But in almost every circumstance that we've seen, in some cases it doesn't happen, only if everything's properly aligned. But we'll have landing pages where you'll have like a 25% conversion on the squeeze page versus another where it's 15%. But the one that's 15% is converting customers at a lower cost than the one that's converting at 25%.
Exactly.
So you have to be measuring everything throughout your funnel and looking at it at a holistic approach. If you're only analyzing based off of one set of data, which in the overall scheme of things, that's not important. That's why we're trying to really get you to shift your mindset into thinking about lifetime customer value and cost to acquire a customer. Because if you weren't measuring those things and you're only looking at the conversion rate on the squeeze page itself, you would have shut off the squeeze page at 15%, and you might be losing money, or at the very worst, your ROI is going to be lower because you're paying more to acquire a customer in that funnel than you would in the funnel on 15%. And I see that more often than not.
Yeah. And look, just because there's a follow-up to that one from the same person, I imagine. I want to point out that in most situations, we have lower opt-in rates on the front end and better conversions on the back end. Why? Because, look, if you want high conversions on the front end of a landing page, give as little information as possible. You want the highest converting landing page in the world, put an email box, say enter your email box, enter your email here, and just put it up after an ad. You'll do 70 to 80% opt-in, because people are going to opt in just out of pure curiosity to see what's on the next page. But there's no framing, there's no filtration process there, and most of the email addresses you're going to get are going to be fake anyway. So you could pat yourself on the back for a high opt-in rate, but it does nothing in terms of putting money in your pocket. The more information you give on the front end, the more you're telling people what they're clicking on. In fact, most of the ads we write, most of the landing pages that we write are to actually have people avoid them from taking the next action. Like, I write my ad copy so people don't click on it. I put my landing pages together so people don't put their emails in unless they know exactly that they want to see what's on the next page. Of course, that's going to lower your conversion rates on the front end. Now, do we all want 80% conversion rate? Absolutely. So the person just said, they're a visual learner. We've been on the webinar for 120 minutes or whatever, and all of that. We're just talking. But guys, like, these words have a lot of wisdom in them. If you just want tools, like just tools that are going to help you build, go look at tools like Leadpages. Go to leadpages.net. It's cheap. It's going to help you build really high converting landing pages very, very easily, and it's going to allow you to build your entire funnel so you can optimize and test very quickly without having to know coding, without having to know a lot about website building or any of that stuff. So if that helps you, just go get it. I'm not even going to throw an affiliate link in there. Just go to their website and go get it. And if that's where you are, that's great, and it's not to make you wrong or say that our opinion's more right. It's just experience talking. But just understand that the things that you guys get touted, CPC, CTR, landing page opt-in rates, those things will lie to you and steal money from your pocket. And people literally sell you products so that you go get those results and you think that, oh, well, if I just do that, I'll get results. But guys, 97% are failing with that information. you got to start considering that's probably the wrong information. Okay, so again, for those of you who are looking for software to help you build funnels, I recommend Lead Pages. Very, very good software.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, and just to kind of, I mean, I know the mindset that the person asking that question is coming from.
Sure.
So when we test, we use Lead Pages with all of our clients. I'm starting to use ClickFunnels now. I'm wearing my snazzy ClickFunnels T-shirt tonight. It does not have an affiliate link on it, though, unfortunately.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, start with Lead Pages. You can pretty much pick any template out of there and work from that and test. You know, all the Lead pages will convert, and you know, we typically see anywhere from 15 to 20% starting off, no matter what page you're using, with the caveat of that you understand who your customer is and you're putting the right messaging on that page and it's in alignment with the messaging that you're using on your ad. If you don't have those things aligned, which all boils back, and we're going to get into the next point is how to create ads. We're going to talk about the creation of the ads. You know, if you don't have those things aligned, then you're not going to get conversion. You could send traffic to the page and get 0% opt-in rate. So, but as far as templates and what works, you can't go wrong with Lead Pages. Where, you know, as far as a design is concerned, where you will go wrong is the messaging that you're using on the page, and that all boils back to knowing who you're going after.
Yeah.
By the way, we're at about 85 minutes. We said we'd be on for 90 minutes, and we've only gone through one point. So I wanted to be sensitive to people's time because you know, it's nighttime and families. Do we want to just tell them what the ending is, and then go back and talk about the other stuff for people who still want to hear the information?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you know, like 5 minutes from now, we should have killed this thing, and I have a feeling it's going to go on for at least another 30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so really, I mean, what we wanted to give you guys an opportunity tonight is, I mean, you can take all the information that we're giving you and you can go at it alone, or you can partner with people like us that have already figured this out. And so, you know, we don't know where you're at in your business or if we're even possibly a good fit for helping you, but if you'd like to be able to figure out, you know, okay, how do you design the funnel that's right? You know, are we able to help you in your particular situation to take over and do all this stuff for you where, you know, we'll figure out who your ideal customer is, develop their avatar, create ads, and just, you know, we just do all this stuff for you and consult with you on, you know, getting your funnel put together so that, you know, you can turn $1 on Facebook into $2, then, you know, we'd like to give you an opportunity to be able to talk with us and see if we're a good fit and be able to help you. We do that pretty simply via a free strategy session. So how it basically works is, you know, you just give us some information about your business, set up a time. You'll get on the phone with Elon, and Elon's going to go through a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe, Elon, if you want to kind of elaborate on the process you take through on those strategy sessions? Yeah,
please. So look, first of all, it's free. Like, you guys literally have nothing to lose. It's going to be probably about 30-ish minutes with me. I'm the worst, admittedly the worst salesman in the world, in the sense, like, I don't get on the phone with you to try to sell you something. My only agenda, and like people that are on here, I know that know me, my only agenda is that you get off that phone better than when you got on. And if that means introducing you to someone else, or a great tool, or giving you some sort of idea about how to structure a business, that's what I'll do. If the conversation lends itself to the fact that, you know, maybe learning from Jason, myself, and my brother in a mastermind setting is right for you, then I'll explain that to you. If it's how to, you know, get help from people like us to build quality funnels, I can help you do that. If it's, you know, creating like campaigns for you that you can roll with on your own, we can do that. We can do the whole thing, kit and caboodle, for you as well. So there's a lot of tools that we have in our quiver, and my only agenda is to leave you better off than when you first showed up on that call, whatever that looks like. I honestly don't care if you work with us or not. I know that sounds crazy, but I really don't. I know that people that resonate with us and love the way that we perceive the world, in specifically Facebook and entrepreneurship and online marketing, are naturally going to work with us. I don't have to convince people to do that. So take the opportunity. I'll be more than happy to speak to every single one of you. Let's chat, figure out where you're at in your business. I guarantee you're going to walk away with like a monumental shift, either in your mindset, your technical, or just your business as a whole. That's my absolute promise to you, and it won't cost you a penny.
Cool, cool. All right, so yeah, do you guys want to move on to the second point then? And I really wanted to talk about, basically how we create ads and kind of our philosophy behind that. And
yeah, bro. I'm sorry, guys. Real quick, how do they contact us? What's the best way for them to contact us? Because we're
all right. So let me drop a link in here real quick.
You can even redirect them to the link if you like in there.
Yeah, the Webinar Jam panel disappeared when we got cut off for me. I can't even get it back.
Yeah, we had to log back in through the admin link. You're just not in the admin link anymore.
I can display a sticky message, yeah?
No. Just there's under attendees, you see it says redirect all attendees to the following URL. You can literally just pop the page open on their screen, and you can drop it in the other one too.
I think I put it in as an offer too. If you've got the option to click the offers button, there should be an offer up there, so they can click that.
Is it the free strategy session thing?
Yep.
Boom.
Well, I just did the attendees thing, so I don't know what the hell that's going to do, but.
All right. Well, you did the redirect?
Yeah.
All right, and I dropped the button in there too for you guys that Jason did.
We're just trying everything. We're trying everything. Boom, 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 boom.
My God, boys!
Click here, buy now.
I know.
They're like, I don't know what strategy session to take first. Ah!
All right.
All right. Point 2.
Okay. So I'm gonna let you lead off with this too, because I need to go refill my drink and take a little restroom break.
All right.
But really, what I wanted to do here was talk about the Facebook ads creation process, specifically how to create ads that pre-frame people to buy, and kind of give people our philosophy behind how we create ads, so that they understand the mindset that we go into it, specifically through the lens of understanding who our client is first before we go in to create that ad. And then I have an actual framework that I will share with everybody for how we create ads. It's the same one that I shared at Frank's event, which is it's pretty eye-opening for a lot of people. So I'll let you start off with kind of the philosophy and stuff, and then I'll hop back here in a minute.
Cool. Brilliant. Take your time. All right, guys. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to that, and for those of you who are sticking around, I mean, thanks for sticking around. For those of you that are gonna get on the call with Elon and that spoke to you, I think that's a really good idea too. But we have a lot of valuable stuff to share, and we're happy to spend here as much time as it takes. So yeah, when it comes to that, look, again, I think it's critically important to go back and remember how you were when you were a student in school. Not necessarily learned that way, but the attitude you brought forth when you were learning something new. So most people are not bringing to the table the student mentality. What they're basically showing up to the test completely unprepared, going, my opinions will get me the right answers, right? And it just doesn't work that way. So when we step into any new campaign, we step into any new niche, anything that we're really working on, we really, really take the time to understand it, which means that we become students of that niche. We want to get into the mindset of the people who are dealing with that stuff on a daily basis, because there are things that it doesn't matter where you are in life, whether you're a tennis player or whether you're a single mom living at home, there's certain things that you're dealing with issues that you want to break through, and that certain things will make a difference for you should you gain the right experiences. And there's certain conversations and what we call specialized terminology that every single niche on the planet has. So one of the most important things to start understanding is the specialized terminology inside of that niche, right? So for instance, why did doctors and lawyers go to school? It's to learn a new language, right? They need to speak amongst themselves in specialized terminology that empowers them to make decisions quickly about what's happening, right? So even if a doctor is speaking to you and they say a word that you understand, the meaning to you and the meaning to that doctor are two completely different things, right? They had to go to school, master something in order to understand that. We're trying to get as close as we can to that level as quickly as we possibly can. Because if we don't have that, we're basically throwing the dart to the board and not even hitting the board. We don't want to just throw the darts. We want to get as close as we can to the bullseye as consistently as we possibly can. So that's part of the initial process that I think is so critical. And you might be sitting there going, well, that's pretty theoretical, like, okay, give me an example of what that means. So, you know, the number one thing you want to do is do what people do when they're having issues, which is they go on Google and they type in a search term and they start going down a rabbit hole. I mean, think about when you have a health problem or you need to fix something in your house, or, you know, what do? You go on YouTube, you go on Google, you watch tutorials. But if you start going to these websites and things like forums, blogs, different informational websites, you're going to start recognizing that there's a pattern on all these websites in terms of how people speak, how they communicate with one another, and it's very specific to that particular niche and to their particular problems, and it's critically important that you go and you start understanding this stuff. So if I was to say another word for marketing that's critical, and I would say this is just a good word for mastery in general, what we are is we are people who have adapted ourselves to be pattern recognition masters. We're constantly looking for patterns. Once you find a pattern, you can place yourself at a certain point as that pattern is taking place where people are most likely to take action. So another way of saying this is what we call a buyer cycle, right? Most people, when they're marketing to the beginning of the buyer cycle. What does that mean? It's like if I'm looking for a home business, you know, I might go just, it's my first time, I'm sitting in front of the computer and I think to myself, I hate my job, I got to go start a home business. First thing I'm going to type in is like, what's the best business? Or like, information about home business, right? It's like that's not a buyer's question. That's someone who's seeking education and information. A person who's looking at reviews, right, already of different companies in the home business arena is much more likely to be a buyer. So we're always looking for the same thing, and it doesn't matter what niche we're in. We're looking at what questions are people asking right before they're ready to make a buying decision, right? And that's why people position SEO things on like review sites and all these kind of things, because that's where people are about to make a buying decision. They want to be as close to that as possible. Now, this creates an effect. Number one, it lowers your costs because you're marketing directly to the people who are ready to buy instead of bringing them in at the beginning of the cycle and then having to spend money to educate them through an autoresponder or whatever follow-up system you use, right, to educate them through this process and take them all the way over here, where you're basically spending a long time educating and trying to convince them to do something, instead of just coming in right at that last point and showing them the best option for them right when they're ready to make the buying decision. So that's number one. So it's going to lower your costs. Number two, it's going to increase your conversions. So instead of getting, you know, like 50% in your return, suddenly you're getting 200, 300, even sometimes 600% return on your money because, again, of that lower cost and higher conversion rate. So again, this is the thing that we almost never see anybody taking the time to do. And for the clients that we work with, what is it? We spend 20 hours, right, per client. Yep. We spend 20 hours per client between ourselves and people that work with us to go and understand a niche, to give a full report like this. You guys need to see this thing that explains everything about this niche, what we've learned, what we're marketing to, why, what's the demographic we're immediately choosing to go after. Now what this does is it just shrinks the timeline between when we start our campaign and when we start making sales, because when you have that information, you can predictably go after the right people like that. And like Jason showed you right in the beginning of his presentation, what was common about all those ads is that they're trying to market to everybody. There's a big generality, right? There's huge net, when you really just need to cast a very small net. You just need to put it in the right place. And that's what that kind of research allows you to do. So it's super, super critical for you to do that. Bro, anything you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, mostly you covered everything. I think there's a process. You know, look, if you're looking for someone to do it for you, obviously we've mastered it, right? We've done that process a million times. But we also teach people how to do that process. Now, it's a very learnable skill, but like anything else, you know, we can talk to you about riding a bike. You need to get your ass on a bike in order to figure out how to get balance, right? And the first time you ride a bike, even when you get balance, it's still wobbly, right? But imagine after you get out on that bike 10, 20, 30 times, you're going to be pretty proficient at it at that point, right? By the time you get, like, do it 100 times, you're not even thinking about it anymore, right? So what we do for students that we teach this to, like, there's a process that you can do all that research. And why do we do it for our clients? Because if we just went off of, again, ads based on what we think, then our clients are going to spend a ton of money completely needlessly. And for any of you guys who have been out on Facebook and actually spent money on advertising, you know that you are losing way more than you're winning, right? The problem is usually two things. One, you don't do the proper research. Two, what we spoke about earlier, you're just not tracking. Everyone always comes to us like, hey, you know, kind of like someone before, like, hey, show me how to build a landing page. Hey, show me how to build an ad. Guess what, guys? Go watch a YouTube video. That shit will not make you money. I don't care how good that video training is. Learn to place an ad on Facebook, like the mechanic. I mean, a monkey can do it. But putting all the pieces together, that's the skill set, right? And that's why when someone asks, like, what's, you know, show us examples of landing pages or show us, it doesn't matter, because in your niche and your demographic, like, what you need to figure out is, in the research, not only who the avatar is, where I think everyone's education always stops, like, find the avatar, but what's more important is what causes that avatar to buy. What language has them take action? What pictures do they resonate with? What articles do they love? What books do they read? What movies do they watch? Get into the head of that avatar, start communicating to them where they're at. That's going to create you a success. Like, the ad will write itself once you do that proper research. It's really simple once you nail that stuff down. And then the tracking comes in, and then you're just rocking.
Awesome. Awesome, Elon. That actually dovetails perfectly into what I wanted to show next. Can everybody hear me? Can you see my the slides that I have up here now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I mean, just like Elon said, like, once you really know the customer, then you can just take that information and you can apply it into the ads, and they're gonna get clicked, and they're gonna turn those clicks into customers. And the other key component to it is people will actually like your ads, which is actually super critical on Facebook right now. Many people don't know this, but Facebook is they're keeping track of people's responses to ads, because in the upper right-hand corner there's a little drop-down box where they can select that, and they can choose they don't want to see it, and they can give their response to it. And Facebook's weighting that stuff, and if you get too many negative responses on your ads, Facebook is shutting down ads accounts for that.
Yep.
So it's critical to know who your customer is, because then you can speak to them in a way where they appreciate the messaging that you're putting together. Okay, so now what I want to do is give you guys a framework that we developed to creating winning Facebook ads. And again, this all ties back to understanding your customer, because you cannot put this stuff together if you don't understand the customer. So I call it the PACE formula, and PACE stands for pain, attention, command, expectation, and that basically just highlights different parts of the ad. So I'm going to walk you through a case study of this particular ad right here for a client, and then I'll show you the results that this PACE formula got. Okay, so this is for the visual people out there that have been waiting for this all night long. So the pain, we identify the pain in the headline, okay? Because there's two types of people that are going to take action, and they're either going to take action because they're trying to move away from a pain, or they're trying to get a gain. Now, what we found is that, and this varies depending on the market, but generally, if you focus your headline in your ad around avoiding some type of pain or identifying a pain that somebody has in the marketplace with trying to get a gain, we find that those that type of headline, excuse me, gets a lot better traction than any other type of headline. I need to take a drink there, right there. All right, so what I always like to do is ask a question in the headline that basically flags what that pain is that the person has. So like with this one, all we simply asked in the headline is, are you frustrated with trying to get high-paying clients? Okay, pretty straightforward, right? It's not There's nothing fancy to that. There's no voodoo copywriting tricks or NLP stuff in there at all. It's just a straightforward question. Do you have this pain? Okay. Now the A stands for the attention is really drawn to the image. Okay. So we use the image to get their eyeballs on the ad. Now when we're dealing with gurus who represent some type of product, I typically like to use an image of the guru, and we want to use a smiling image of the guru, and then we'll use a picture of them in different settings. Like this particular ad, we used the picture of this is Kendall Summerhawk. We used a picture of her in her home office. We've actually also run, she's an avid horsewoman, and so we've run ads with pictures of her with her horse, and those do really, really, really well. It's just having a unique picture of a person where they can identify and develop a relationship through that imagery. That will get attention on your ad. And that tends to be the most positive attention that we've seen. There's other strategies that you can use to get attention. I mean, I've run ads where we've just had like a big orange block on here where it was just a solid orange color with nothing else in it. That gets attention. So there's different ways that you can do that. You just got to kind of play around with what works for your market. Now the command, on a newsfeed ad, you're going to have this section right below the image. And so what we found is if we use a command here to tell them what to do, we get a higher response on the ad. So we ask them this question up here, and so if they say yes to that question, then they read here, and we're telling them what to do. Then you should click here. Okay, so it's just a little command of basically telling them exactly what to do. Then we set the expectation in this part of the ad. This is called the link description. So what we're going to do down here is we're going to set the expectation of what they're going to receive when they do click there, what they're going to get, the kind of benefits that they should expect from that, and then I also usually like to wrap in some curiosity elements into there as well. If you can wrap those three elements into there, you've got a real high converting ad. So you'll see here we just tell them you'll get a simple 3-step checklist to attract high-paying clients this week. Okay, so we identified that pain. Are you frustrated with trying to get high-paying clients? Then we tell them click here, and then we say you're going to get a 3-step checklist to attract high-paying clients. So you see how it's completely congruent throughout that ad. The other thing that I want to draw attention to with this ad is kind of backing up a little bit to explain some of my philosophy behind how I particularly create ads. And I like to think of a Facebook ad as starting a conversation with somebody, and that's like the beginning of a relationship with them. And so, that's why I ask that question typically in the get-go of the ad, and particularly if they have that pain, is that's how you really start a conversation with somebody. Is you'll typically ask them a question, right? Because it's Facebook. You have to understand, as a platform, it's a social media platform, so people are there to be social. So if you think of your post and your ad as starting that conversation, and you open up that conversation with a question, people are more receptive to you, and they engage better with your ad. You'll see this one here. I mean, this has 1,095 likes, 26 comments, 135 shares on this ad. So people really like this ad, and it performed really well. Let me show you how it actually worked. So when I took the screenshot, it was an ongoing ad. We've changed this out since. But from September 25th to the date that I took this screenshot, which it was towards the end of October, I believe, we had spent $7,195 on that ad. We generated 1,790 leads into our system at an average cost of $4.02 per lead. And what you can see here is this is, I know this is probably hard to see on your screen because it's a little bit small, but let me try to drag this out a little bit here. I've been working with Kendall since March of this year, and we use this type of ad for all of her ads. And so since March, we've spent $45,361.45 on ads, and that's produced $119,571.72. So that's an immediate ROI of 164%. So, you know, and this is over an extended period of time here, guys. This formula, it will work, and it will work long term. It's not a flash in the pan kind of thing that I'm showing you guys here. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's really the framework that we use with creating ads. It's one of the frameworks that we use, and you guys can go out and apply that in your business right away. Was there anything else you wanted to add about ad creation, Guy?
Well, somebody just asked the question, or one of the questions, it just doesn't have a name as, is if I'm bidding for website conversions, should I start with optimized CPM and stick with it? And my answer was absolutely not. Do not do that, guys. Look, when you start out a campaign, you have no data. You have nothing. You don't know what it's going to do. You don't know how people are going to react to it. You don't know what your returns are going to be, and you're paying for views. You're not paying for a click. So at least if you're going to spend your money or invest your money in collecting data, make sure that every time you have $1 leaving your pocket, that somebody clicked on something, and you're collecting that data so you can make a decision off of it. Heaven forbid you run a campaign that has a horrible CTR, right? Nobody clicks on it and doesn't get you leads, and most importantly, doesn't get you sales on the back end. You're going to be spending a lot of money, because when you go to a CPM model, Facebook feeds you a lot more impressions, right? Because what are they trying to do? They're getting paid for just showing your ad. They don't care about the performance of it at all, right? So make sure that you always start with the CPC model. You get yourself nice and healthy, that you know your analytics way before you ever get there. I mean, I mean, I've seen somebody say at 25 conversions, switch it over to OCPM. That has not been our experience at all. I mean, from Jason and I, we would say like 1,000 conversions before you even tinker in that direction. And I could tell you guys, for the first maybe 2.5 years, I don't think Elon and I ever ran CPM campaigns ever. So we ran multiple six-figure businesses straight off CPC, because at the end of the day, can you do really good with OCPM? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of our best campaigns have been OCPM campaigns. But at the same time, like, you can run very healthy campaigns just on CPC. As long as it's a healthy campaign, I mean, you're still going to, like, what Facebook cares about is that people are seeing your ad and interacting with it, clicking, liking, commenting, and sharing, because every time somebody does, they're putting money in their pocket. So that's their number one concern, too. They want clicks, right? But if you're in CPM, they don't care about your clicks. They're like, we'll show this thing all day. We don't care about the performance. So be very, very careful with that. Really be careful with that. Do not under any, I mean, to this day, have you ever started a campaign in CPM?
No.
Never, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then another question here real quick is, people say, are your landing pages on Facebook, or do you go off Facebook? My personal thing, I mean, I don't, it's funny because I've even seen like the gurus, or like the Facebook marketing gurus, like their whole model is like, oh yeah, put these landing pages in on Facebook. And then they'll run a launch, and their landing pages are never on Facebook. And I'm like, well, if your whole model is about landing pages on Facebook, how come your launch isn't running on Facebook and landing pages? It makes no sense. My personal thing is always take them off Facebook. Why? Because Facebook's got a lot of bells and whistles. Like, you know, again, you're spending your hard-earned money on getting people to click on ads, right? On earning that trust. Somebody clicks on an ad and you bring them into a place on Facebook, and now their Aunt Jenny, like, you know, sends them a little message during that point in time, and they get the notification in the top right corner. They're suddenly clicking off your thing and like seeing what Aunt Jenny has to say. There's too many distractions, so you can't really control the environment on Facebook. So again, it's just an opinion. I'm sure people have done it very successfully with having landing pages on Facebook too. Is get them off Facebook where you can control where their eyes are going and the experience that they're having. And as universal as Facebook is and everyone's comfortable with it, again, it doesn't, you know, a brain interrupt is a good thing. And when people are on Facebook, there's no interruption because they're so used to seeing the same crap on there, they're probably not even going to see the content in the way that you really want them to see it.
Yeah, the other thing I'll add to that too is, like, if you do your landing pages within Facebook, you can't add the retargeting pixel on there. At least I haven't seen it work. And that's like that's the future of advertising, really, in my opinion. I mean, in all of his presentations right now is really it's going to be about how many people can you pixel, and how many people can you pixel across a whole bunch of different markets. My cat's trying to eat my dinner. And so if you go off Facebook, you can put the retargeting pixel on them, and then you can remarket to those people. You can market to them other offers. You can create lookalike audiences when you get more data, so that Facebook can give you better people that will buy from you. So there's so many advantages, to taking them off of Facebook. It's the best way to go, in my opinion, as well.
Agreed. 100%. Agreed. Guys, and I think, Jason, you really said it well. The ad is like, it's like the shaking of the hand. It's where the relationship starts. Facebook, where a huge issue I see on Facebook is people try to turn Facebook into an e-commerce platform. It's not. That's not what people are there for. Every advertising that they click on, that's an interruption in their day. That's not why they're spending time there. They're spending time to see their aunts and their nieces and their nephews and see pictures and read stupid articles about 39 places to visit before they die, and number 10 is the best one on the planet. You know, like they're there to just burn time. So, you know, make sure that you use it for what it is. It's called social media. If you want to build relationships with people, it's the best place to do it. Socialize, right? Like, go into the comment boxes, interact with people, message them when they interact with your stuff if you want, or like encourage them to message you. That could be a whole advertising. Message me on Facebook if you're interested, right? And then get that conversation going. But that's what they're there for. If you're like, hey, go over here and buy my shit, they're disgusted with you. You know, like, imagine going into a store where you bought clothes, and the salesperson, instead of asking, do you want help with that, they're like, I got jeans. You want to buy these fucking jeans? Oh, you want these jeans? How about these fucking jeans? Oh, you want that? Like, it would drive you crazy. You'd be like, get away from me, insane person. But more often than not, that's how we see people marketing on Facebook or everywhere. It's just like, buy my shit, buy my shit. Nobody cares anymore. There's access to information. There is so many guys to understand. Your average user on Facebook at any given time can be shown up to there's 7,000 ads. Facebook can show that person based on the likes that they currently have. They have to pick 10 ads that they're going to show that person that day. In general, your average person is exposed to about 3,000, I think it's 3,000 to 5,000 ads per day. If you're just another head or another person that's like, I got this great thing, buy my stuff, they won't, because their options are endless. I go on Amazon and buy shit and look at reviews and make a buying decision across 20 different products like this. So do you. What makes you different? What value are you bringing to this person's life that makes it different? That's why you need to understand the market. That's why you need to understand the demographic. You really need to understand their problems, and you really need to understand how you're going to help them with those problems. Otherwise, it's just not going to work for you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, cool. So, I mean, just kind of wrapping up that point and tying it all back, it all boils down to understanding your customer, because if you don't know who your customer is, what particular problems they're experiencing in their life right now, and how your product can specifically solve those issues for them, you're never going to be able to write ads that convert, even if you have that framework that I gave you. But when you do all that work ahead of time, and then you apply that into your ad creation process, you'll get ads that win 9 times out of 10. I mean, we very rarely create an ad now that does not produce a result at some level using that process.
Yeah, and again, because of the processes that we've done before we ever place the ad, that's why those ads are successful. That's why we can go to our clients and be like, look, there's no guarantees, obviously. It's marketing, right? Like, there's a whole funnel. There's so many pieces, but we know when we place an ad that it is speaking to the exact demographic to offer them exactly what they want. And that's why we're so confident. That's why Jason said, like, 9 out of 10 times we nail it coming out the gate. Do we optimize it going forward? Heck yeah. Like, you can drop your cost in a 30-day period by, I don't know, like, you can go from spending $100 acquisition to sometimes $20 in acquisition in just 30 days, depending on how much you're testing when you first start out. I tell people your first acquisition on Facebook is guaranteed to be your most expensive. Always. Because after that, what you're doing is you're when you're testing a whole bunch of stuff, you're basically pumping a bunch of money, right? And a lot of the money that you're pumping into are campaigns that are just kind of like sucking your money but not producing results necessarily. Once you eliminate those, right, your ROI goes through the roof, your acquisition cost goes way down, but that just takes time. But coming out the gate, like, again, 9 out of 10 times, how many of you guys are winning 9 out of 10 times? And how many of you would love to win 9 out of 10 times when you place an ad?
Yeah, it's a game changer. It's a complete game changer.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, I mean, dudes, let's move on to the last point, and I think we can make this one pretty quickly. I really wanted to. I see a lot of people that they just don't understand how to set up targeting templates on Facebook so they can find their buyers. So I kind of wanted to talk about 2 different things basically here, and then we'll leave it open-ended, and then we can do a Q&A after that. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, the easiest way to find buyers on Facebook is if you are actually already have a buyers list. Within your ads account, you can upload what's called a custom audience, where you just take a CSV file of people that have bought from you, and you just upload it into there. And then once it uploads, Facebook's going to match profiles to that list, and they may have 60 to 75% match on those people. And then what you can do is you can create what's called a lookalike audience, where you tell Facebook, based off of that list that you uploaded, find other people that are like that. And what it'll do is it'll actually give you a list of about 2 to 2.1 million people that have similar profiles to the people that buy. So they're looking at all those thousands upon thousands of different data points that they have on people, like where they went to school, what things do they like, and stuff like that, and they're matching those people. And so if you do that, very frequently those lookalike audiences will convert for your offers more highly than any other type of targeting that you can do on Facebook. Has that been your experience, Guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a really simple way to find buyers on Facebook. Now, if you don't have that, obviously, then you got to be able to figure out how to develop a targeting template. So again, what it boils down to is understanding your target market. And so I want to take you through an exercise that we do when we're developing targeting templates for clients. Basically, what we want to start by looking at is what is the ground zero for your market. And so let's say you're selling something in the survival space. Ground zero for survival is going to be Glenn Beck, because everybody knows that he's kind of where all the survivalists kind of they attract to. So I'm going to turn on my screen sharing here again, if I can get this to work right. And I'm going to show you a little tool that we use that you can go out and find stuff on Facebook to get these targeting templates. Can everybody see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
By the way, Jason, just quick technical question here. What's the minimum size that you need to put in to create a lookalike?
You need to have at least 100 matched profiles to do a lookalike.
In that country. It has to be country specific too. Yeah.
Yeah, specific to the country, and we always just use US for that. But yeah, the more people that you have, the better. Facebook can match the people a lot better. We've seen a direct correlation to how those lookalike audiences convert to the number of people that are on the list. Definitely. All right, so I'm going to go over here to Facebook. There's this app that you can download for free on Facebook that's called Wisdom. You can search for it up here if you don't have it, and then once you install it, it'll show up in your app section over here on the left. And you can click on this link to Wisdom, and it's going to open up the page in here, and then when it opens up, there's going to be a little link at the right-hand corner that says Wisdom Network. And we're going to click on that. And this is going to give you basically analytics on any Facebook fan page that's out there. And on top of that, it's going to give you what they call affinity pages, which are pages that people who like a page that you enter in also like. And so when we're going through and we're developing a targeting template for clients, this is how we walk through and do all of this. So it's just taking a minute here to load. But once it loads, there's going to be a box over here on the left where we can put in the actual fan page. And so sticking with our survival example, let's say we're going after Glenn Beck. So we just type in Glenn Beck, select him, click apply. Okay, and then now we can go over the demographics, and we can get all the demographic information of all the people that like his page. It's taking a minute to load here. Okay, so it tells us that 62% are male, so we would probably want to target most of our ads towards men. We find that the big percentage of them, like the 80% of the market pretty much, is right in this age range right here, so you'd probably want to have your ads going males 29 to 58. And then you can get all the other demographic information that you need to set on your targeting template for the people. But the more powerful thing is going to be this page like section here. So this affinity section here, these are all the other pages as closely related to Glenn Beck that people who like Glenn Beck also like. And so what we'll do is we'll go down this list from top to bottom, and we'll just notate all of them, and we'll set those up in our targeting template to test. Now, when we're creating the ads, what we're going to do is we're going to have one ad for each of these fan pages individually. So we create one campaign, we have one ad, and we set up each of these fan pages as an interest in one separate ad set. And then we run the traffic to those individually so that we can see if they convert for your offer. Because Glenn Beck might convert, but Rush Limbaugh may not. Bill O'Reilly might convert, but Michelle Bachmann may not. So if you don't separate those things out and test them individually, you're never going to find out what works and what doesn't work for your campaign. So the way we lay them out is, we'll do like 30 to 50 interests in their own ad set, and then we run traffic to them, find out if they're working. If they're not working, we turn them off. If they are working, then we leave them on, and we scale those until we get to the point of diminishing returns in the campaign. And that's really it to creating a targeting template. I mean, it's just really understanding who is your target customer, what's the ground zero for that person, and then you can use a tool like Wisdom like this to find out, where are those people then hanging out on Facebook. Anything you'd like to add to that, Guy?
Let me just unmute myself here. Yeah, I mean, look, that's definitely a brilliant tool. I've always found it easier to scale on Facebook by finding more interests that work to sell versus trying to scale individual interests upwards. Facebook just does not seem to like a lot of ad spend together. I think that's a big difference between Google and Facebook. If on the Google days, if you would have found something, you just start throwing more budget at it, and you're predictably making more money. So a really good takeaway from that, guys, is what Jason said about the diminishing returns. There's only going to be, you're going to find the sweet spot with your budget where whether you add more money or take away more money from it, it really won't make a difference anymore. So whatever it was that got you the best result, if you see yourself spending more money but the results haven't changed, go back to that original budget. Don't keep adding money. It won't increase your sales essentially. But what will help you go out there is once you have that cash flow coming in, go and start testing different markets. Like Jason said, go test different niches and see if you could find more places that offer is going to convert with. You might just need to change the messaging a little bit to make the offer convert with that specific keyword, but that's the best way to find, in our experience, to scale upwards.
Yeah.
All right.
We have children going to bed tonight now.
Nice. She doesn't look like she wants to go to bed though.
No. She wants to conduct webinars with her father.
Nice. Future Facebook marketing expert.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's just
Good night, sweetheart.
let's just open it up. I know we answered a bunch of people's questions as we were kind of going on, but let's just open it up to Q&A. And again, guys, I don't know if they're still on the line, but I think last time I checked, we had about 15 people. It was either 13 or 15 people that had already taken us up on the offer for the application to talk to one of us. So again, if you realize that what we're talking about, even if it's like going way over your head and you're like, holy shit, I don't understand half the shit these guys are talking about, my encouragement to you is realize that what we're talking from is experience. You may not know the lingo, kind of like what we discussed before, but if you see that Facebook is a vehicle that you want to either learn and or use to drive your business, take the application. Get on the phone with us. You really have absolutely nothing to lose. You're going to get a gem getting off that phone no matter what. So just click on that link. It's the top thing in the chat box, the 2xtrasales.com/blog/SSS Apply.
The worst link ever.
Say it again?
Worst link ever.
Yeah, I was going to say, we could really use a link shortener there, buddy. But it doesn't matter. You know, like, just give us a little bit of data on your business, your goals, etc. And I was just cracking up. I had a conversation with someone today, and they're like, I want to make, you know, we have a question like, what's the revenue you want to generate? And they're like, you know, something like $50,000 to $100,000. And then the next question is like, how much are you spending in advertising? And they're like, $1,000 to $3,000. And it just always makes me laugh. I'm like, really? Like, do you really think that you can turn $1,000 or $3,000 into $100,000? If you do, we don't need to be getting on the phone. I'm just telling you flat out, like, there's nothing that we're going to talk about. Like, it's going to be a harsh reality check. But, like, if you're realistic and if you understand that this vehicle can drive businesses. I was just listening to an awesome podcast, and someone said that sales is the air in your business, right? No air, you die. No sales, you die. And then this other guy said, well, marketing is kind of like your lungs. Without your lungs, there is no air. So if your business is, you're trying to grow it, you're struggling to grow it, you're still trying to figure it out, there's really two options. You either learn the damn skills yourself and do it, or you pay someone to do it for you. Obviously, paying someone is going to cost you more. Learning is going to cost you more time, right? And it's going to take you a little bit longer to execute, right? Because there's that like learning curve and all that stuff. But one of those two things has to freaking happen. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure. So if you want to understand how to do one or the other, click that link, fill out an application, let's talk in the next couple of weeks. I promise you this. You will get a tremendous, mind-blowing experience off that one call. Promise. I love you.
Boom.
My girl is going to sleep.
Yeah. I just have cats. They're sleeping all the time. But I honestly think the going at it alone and doing the education process, well, you shouldn't avoid that under any circumstance. You know, whether you come work with somebody or not, you know, you're still outsourcing work. You want to make sure you're getting the work that you're paying for, so you need to have some baseline of understanding. But I know that early on, and I think we talked about this, Jason, the first time that we did our webinar together, right, when we did like the three-way, we published it, and you guys could go see it. It's on our podcast page, actually. We talk about like how much we've invested in education and how much we continue to invest in education to keep our swords sharp. It's way more costly, right? Way more costly. I wish I knew about people like us when I was getting started. $10,000, or whatever, to get going with somebody so they could run a campaign for me successfully while I was spending tens of thousands of dollars to get education. Probably would have saved me a lot of money. However, I would never switch the experience that I got by going through the trenches.
All right, so a couple of things here. I just copied and pasted a bunch of questions, so I'm just going to go through them real quick. So Adam asked, great stuff, guys. If we work together, are we sharing revenue with you from sales? We do have that as an option, but it's not something like the only time that would even be in the field of play is if you already had a sick funnel that you can show us your numbers, you know how it's converting, etc. Because we know that we can look at those numbers and take it from, X to Z. That's the only time that we really look at that model. Otherwise, it would kind of be like as we work together, we can have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, please talk more about targeting for the survival niche. That was cool. What else can you tell us about targeting in survival? I don't know if there's anything else you can share, Jason.
No, man. That's pretty much all we go through.
Yeah.
We understand the target market, figure out what the ground zero is, and then I use that tool specifically, Wisdom, to find out the demographics. We apply that, and then we find those affinity pages, and then within those affinity pages, you can also take like one of those other, like Michelle Bachman was an example, and you can plug that in, and you'll get a whole different set of affinity pages. So when we're scaling out a campaign, we just keep cycling through that and finding new interests that we can target until we can't grow the campaign anymore.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Debbie, the one thing I can tell you is I heard this great line a long time ago. Someone said, steal smart. What they mean by steal smart is basically there are other people that right now in the survival niche. Ryan Dice happens to be in that niche, right? Like brilliant marketer. See what he's doing. You don't have to come up with if he's doing it, trust me, he is paying millions of dollars to test and make sure that works. So just there are people out there that you can follow and see what they're doing and mimic, and that will tremendously help you with ad copy, landing page design, funnel design, etc. Be a student of the game. You wanna, like, the first time I wrote a VSL, people were like, well, how did you come up with this VSL? I sat in my room for like months. I watched probably 30, 40, 50 VSLs. I actually hand transcribed VSLs. I think at least 10 of them to just try to pick apart the pattern to figure out what it was. Because back in the day, like, people weren't saying, oh, well, this is how you build a VSL. Now there's like people like John Benson with pre-made programs, whatever. But that didn't exist back then. So again, use logic and then go out and find those patterns, and you'll do great. All right, another kind of person looking for kind of, I think, a finite answer, which I don't think exists, but how long should you leave an ad running before deciding it isn't working?
Well, so I'll answer that. I mean, when we're starting a campaign for a client, we establish key performance indicators for every part of the funnel. And that's all based on their numbers or the benchmarks that we establish. So if they, like, for example, if they don't have benchmarks established already, the key metric that we're looking at in the get-go is the cost per lead, because we can't generate sales if we're not getting leads into the funnel, right?
Sure.
So we'll usually use $5 as a benchmark, and then when we're laying out a campaign like I showed you, we'll put a $5 a day budget on each of those ad sets, and then we just run the traffic for like 24 hours, and we see if an ad set is converting within that KPI or not. So if we got a conversion for less than $5, we leave it on and let it run another day. If we didn't, we shut it off, and then we just let it run for another day, and then relook at the numbers the next day. sort them by the KPI. Is it under that KPI? Yes, leave it on. If it's not, no, turn it off. And we're always taking those budgets from the ones that we're turning off and we're reallocating it back to the ones that are converting. And when you do it this way, what you'll find is you'll have, like, Michelle Bachman will convert at $1.42. Glenn Beck will be at $3.78. Sean Hannity won't convert at all. Like, that's what you'll see. And so then you'll find out which ones are working the best for you, and then you'll also kind of want to weight your budget towards the ones that are converting at the lowest cost so you can get as many leads through the funnel as possible, because that's the first goal on a new one, is you want to pump as many leads through so that you can determine if the sales message is converting at the levels that you need it to be at, because then that's the next level you have to be looking at. So you don't have to run traffic for long. It's literally 24 hours. You can spend $5 per interest to find out if they're working. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind, though, with that is we always restart that entire process every time we change an ad. Exactly. Because you'll find that with one ad creative, Glenn Beck will convert at $3.78, but then with the next ad, Glenn Beck won't convert at all. Because each interest will respond to each creative differently, and you don't know who within that interest Facebook is showing the ads to. That's why Guy said earlier, you have to treat each campaign, each creative, as its own little baby that you have to nurture throughout. So that's why we've got this process that we've developed, and then we have to restart it and re-go through it every time. It's not like you can figure out, well, Glenn Beck converts, it's going to convert every time, and it's going to convert every time where I need it to.
Yeah. That's why when people ask us questions like, people are always fishing for, like, what's the best keywords? What's the best keywords? There is no best keywords. That's why Guy said, like, we could literally stand up on a stage. Like, you could probably have done this at Frank Kern's event and be like, this ad, this thing, that. The fact that Facebook changes their algorithm behind the scenes all the freaking time, it just makes all that information useless. What you got to develop is an ability to critically think and analyze your Facebook ads, your funnels, etc. That's the only way you're going to succeed. Looking for definitive answers, and if you talk to someone and they're like, this is how you run Facebook ads, blah, 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 run the fuck away. Because you will not generate results. And even if you do, so what? It'll work for 2-3 weeks. What happens when Facebook makes the next change? What then? You have to be a student. You have to master the skill of proper research, putting the proper ads together, tracking those proper ads together. Once you get that 3-piece system in place, it doesn't matter what Facebook changes. Because you're tracking data, you're going to know, like, oh, they made this change, so if I now do this instead of that, I should still see that same ROI. And then because you're testing, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not, so let me just do this other thing, right? And that's how we play this game. It's a moving target every day. Every day. So just keep that in mind. These finite answers are scary. All right, Jason said to test for one separate keyword for each ad. Did you just suggest to put a bunch together in Facebook? I'm not sure what that means, Wes.
He means either bunching interests together or doing one off at a time. We never bunch them together.
Oh yeah, only separate. Yeah. And the reason, just so you know, is if you're bunching them together, even if you're tracking, you're gonna have no clue which of the keywords actually produced sales for you. And so again, it's like just gambling at that point.
Yeah, you're just hucking at the wall then.
Yeah. Is interest the only way to target a fan page? Can you directly target a fan page?
The interest should be the fan page. It's one and the same. There's no distinction between them.
Yeah. Okay. So no, do not combine keywords. And then someone asked, ads on mobile and desktop or desktop only?
sensitive to your market, but I will say that usually people who are running stuff like Amazon with like a one-click purchase can make mobile work really well. But look, if you have a great follow-up sequence and it's really interactive, engaging, and building relationships, mobile might work great for you. But for a person who's just sending direct to sales page, you know, people are not going to sit there and watch a 45-minute video, whip out their credit card, and probably pay for it with their phone. So the answer to almost 99% of your questions is just test it.
As Bill is saying. Bill, yeah. Like every time we say something, Bill's like, test it.
Just test it. And honestly, that is the right answer. It's not the answer you want to hear because you've been led to believe there's some secret that no one's telling you. And people are just, you know, unfortunately having most people focus on the wrong things. And there's another question here, you know, so are you definitely looking at conversions for sales or just leads? Again, like if we don't have any information on sales, we have to look at a key metrics like leads, but we have like a baseline number that we're shooting for that makes it reasonable to test. But if after a while of spending money we haven't made any sales, we know that's a dud, right? So we're willing to, I mean, look, when JC and I go into a program, we approach like this. We find something that's interesting, we reverse engineer, we do the demographic data, and we say, how much money do we want to put towards testing this? Like, what are we willing to spend in order to see if we can make this win? And that's what we're willing to spend. Like, obviously, you know, as your budget grows and you have more flexibility, the game becomes a lot more fun, right? Because it's like we have a lot more to play money, basically. But again, we had to go through a period of time where that was not the case at all. We were just as scared as you guys, and we had that fear, and we had to spend $1 and hopefully make $2 and do all that kind of stuff. But the experience along the way was invaluable, you know. And the reason that we do these webinars is because we see so many people struggling. We want to do anything we can to cut out some of the crap that we've had to go through. And even if that means cutting half the time, you get to where we got into in 18 months, I can't even tell you how big of a victory that is. Because for us, it's been years of doing this crap.
Yep. And I mean, I can tell you, I was scared crapless when I first started doing Facebook ads. You know, I mean, I lost so much money in the get-go, and then I had written it off for a long time before I got back into the game. And I mean, just to get the people that are on here tonight, I spent $4,000 on Facebook ads to get the people that are on here tonight to help you learn. You know, I don't know if anybody's going to end up buying from me or not at this point. It's really just a test. Mm-hmm. And so you have to get to that point where, you know, you understand that you provide enough value and that you've got the opportunity to really help people and the potential to do business with them, and you have to put the stuff out there and you have to test. But you know, as far as like a best practice, as far as the placement of where you're putting your ads, it generally is a best practice to start with desktop and then work out from there and test the mobile individually from there. And then once you get to know your market, then you can understand if mobile is going to work, and then maybe, you know, if you tested enough times and mobile's work for you, and like Guy said, you got the right process to convert people that are in mobile, then you can start off a campaign in mobile. Like, you know, I know one of the markets that we've been in for a long time is real estate, and so I know with real estate investors, let me clarify that. I know in that market that most real estate investors are people, they're out on the go, they're on their iPhone, they interact on their phone a lot, they're on Facebook on their phone a lot, and they respond to offers on their phone a lot. And so I almost all the time start a campaign with mobile targeting because it will convert for me. But you don't know that until you test. But you know, just if you're trying to limit your risk in the get-go, your best bet is to focus on desktop traffic first.
Yeah. And there's a lot, again, someone said before, definitely cheaper clicks. 85% of Facebook is on mobile. Is everything going to go mobile? 100%. I believe that that's where it's going. Like Guy said, there's only certain markets that are really working with mobile. That's not to say that you can be the one to crack that code, but if you're like in the test phase and you're you're testing your funnels, I'd recommend against it because you're going to spend a lot of money, even though it's going to your ego is going to be like, oh my God, I'm getting such cheap clicks. Chances are they're not going to convert to actual sales, so it's just not going to. You're dumping money down a very deep, treacherous hole. So I'd stay away from that.
Just real quick, in almost any situation I can ever think of across our entire business, anything that we've done, quality will trump quantity every single time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. I mean, it's great if you're getting, leads at $1, and if I'm getting them at 20, but I'm getting conversions and you're not, and it's, I'm getting a conversion every 3 leads, you're getting a conversion every 50, or whatever it is, every 100. Like, who's spending more money? You're still spending more money. So just the CPL alone, or cost per lead alone, again, it's not enough of an important metric, although it is important when you're starting a campaign at first. You don't want to be spending, like $20, $30 a lead for testing. But overall, in the bigger scheme of things, it's not that important of a metric. How much are you earning on that lead cost, right? That's what's important. If for that $20 that I'm spending to acquire that lead, I'm making $150 on the back end, I just did 700% return on my money.
And
if you're spending $1 to $5 a lead, but it's taking you 100 to 500 leads to create one sale, I'm crushing you. You're not even close.
Yeah. All right, so let's run through the rest of these real quick and call it a night. Can I run a campaign using only Facebook pixel tracking on my capture page and sales page, or do I need a separate tracking service?
You can do that, but you could run just Facebook, but we recommend having both. Just because you want to look at the lifetime of things, right? Facebook is going to give you snapshots per campaign, but you want to have a place where you can go and look at, okay, well, everything I've run over the last 6 months, how does that look? What's my baseline numbers there? Because that's going to give you insights next time you start that campaign. Yeah. So I would say both. We've already made a few recommendations. We said Improvely is one, or Link Tracker, right, is the one that you use, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they're both really inexpensive. I think Link Tracker is like 50,000 clicks for like $19. I think Improvely is 10,000 clicks for $29. And then people always follow up with, well, which is the right one? The right one is the one that you're going to use. Whatever one is user-friendly for you, that's the right one, right? Like the cost is menial, $10 here, $10 there. Hopefully it's menial for you. The one that is user-friendly to you and you're actually going to apply, that's the one that's right for you.
All right. Are you saying that when working with you, you will set up all the campaigns separately by different interests and groups? Yes. If we do your campaign for you, like if we're your agency and do everything for you, yes. Everything that we spoke about today, we do for you. Okay. Someone said, I downloaded the Wisdom app. Is this the one that shows the affinity? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be all set up there. And I think that's pretty much it. Someone asked, will there be a replay? We recorded this, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, there was that glitch over there, so.
I mean, hopefully it kept recording. So, yeah, our intention is that we send this out again. And I think that's it, guys. I don't see any other questions here, unless someone saw something that I may have missed.
Okay. Well, is the link for the strategy session application still up?
Yeah.
Yes.
I made a new one, really simple. SatoriPrime.com/FBMastery.
Oh, look at you making it nice and simple.
But you guys can click on it there, or if you have the other one from before, they both work. And I'm sure when we send the recording, we'll shoot out the link too. I'll put out a nice display page for everybody.
Yep.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, Bill, thanks for chatting with us. It was fun. By the way, I realized, Bill's so into testing, I think the whole wallet thing was just a test. He's like, that would be like someone asking, like, could you leave a wallet on a side of a truck and drive 65 miles down a highway? And Bill's answer, like everything else today, was like, well, just test it.
Let's just figure it out.
Just test it. I guess it worked. I'll
have to tell you some of the other stories from that night. They're not quite appropriate for webinar sometime.
All right. Someone just asked about cost per month. It really depends on where you're at with your funnel and your business. So one of the things that we do is whenever we take on a client, there's a big strategy session we have, kind of like looking at your funnel, making sure everything's there. depending on how much work there is for us to do will depend on the cost. So it's hard to say what that would be. I can tell you that we're not the cheapest guys on the block. Like, if you're looking for someone to run your traffic for $1,000 a month, we're not those guys, right? Like, there's a reason that people like Frank Kern, Todd Brown, John Benson, Ryan Dice use us, right? So we're not like, if you're just looking for someone to run you cheap traffic, whatever, I can maybe make some recommendations, but we're not those guys, okay? We're looking to work with, on the agency side, okay? On the agency side, we're looking to work with people that have a really good understanding of where they want to take their business. They have money, data, like they understand where this is going. Now, on the, whether it's like funnel build side or whether it's training you side, that's a whole different beast, right? We can show you through a mastermind how to do all this stuff on your own, and you don't have to rely on an agency. We can do a combination of the two. So it really depends on where you are. My recommendation is click that link, fill out the application, we'll get on the phone. I'll know very, very quickly whether or not we can be your agency or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the big part of what we do in that first call and what Elon's going to go through is running those numbers to see if we can, if you've got the business model in place, or if we can engineer the business model that's going to allow you to generate enough sales to pay us and then still give you the kind of return that you're looking for, then it will make sense for us to possibly work together. But if we can't, then we'll just let you know, and then if there's an option where maybe you want to do a mastermind or something like that where it's a better suit for where you are right now, then that's what we'll let you know. I just had a call with a guy just the other day that was referred to me from Dice's team, and when I talked to him, I ran all of his numbers. I'm like, well, dude, like we're not going to be able to even break even with your specific funnel on Facebook, in my opinion, let alone afford our fees. So there's no incentive to us really to try to twist your arm or to bring on people where it's not going to work, because our reputation is really that's the most important thing. And so we want to make sure we're working with people that we know for a fact that we can actually get results for, because then our reputation stays solid and stays intact, and it just builds that credibility in the marketplace. So we can't have to, we'll let you know.
Yeah, and while we don't have like a one-size-fits-all option, what we have done is we've pretty much built a jacket or created a jacket that we can size for anybody depending on what you have. But if if you're not the right fit, we're not here people who want to deal with people who, after we talk to them, we feel like we need to take vitamins. Like, we want to empower people who are ready to be empowered, who are coachable, who really have a good understanding of things, and if you're not, then look, we have resources for you also, but you're probably not going to work directly with us. So I think I really do think, like, we've been doing this for months, like having these conversations with people. I mean, we clearly spend, as much time as we need to spend with you guys. We're not in a rush. We're not here to fucking pitch you. We don't care about that stuff. We're doing just fine. But we are people who really care about making a difference for people in many facets. And if you guys really know about our company, you'll go take a look and look at the things that we do outside of Facebook. It's well beyond just marketing for us. We really are here to make a profound difference in the way that people live their lives. This is just one of the ways that we have an entrance and an opportunity to do it.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Boys, it was a blasty blast. I don't know about you, my beer was absolutely phenomenal. I recommend everyone go check this out. If you like Imperial Stouts, again, Christmas Eve at a New York City hotel room. Who fucking names a beer that? Like, just so
genius.
It's insane. But it was really delicious. Yeah, I mean, the comments, obviously, like, people got a ton of value from this. If you guys have follow-up questions also, in the application, there's a place where you can, like, just leave, like, some other comments about, what else we need to know. feel free to drop that in there. I'd be more than happy to answer it that way if you guys want. Or you know what I can do? I mean, I can just give you guys my email address, and you can just email me.
Lisa, you took the words out of my mouth. You said you get what you pay for. So true.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I just dropped you guys that's my personal email address. So if you guys have questions, just follow up with me, elon@storyprime.com. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Thanks for hanging out. I know we ran this like way longer, but you know, listen, we get geeking about Facebook, and that's what just happened. So
that's what you get.
Felt like 10 minutes to me, and we went 2.5 hours instead of 90 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. I feel like every time we have one of these, so just so you guys know, like as a side note, Jason, Guy, and myself have these kind of like powwows quite often, and just picking each other's brains and throwing ideas at each other, because what we found is that when we do that, one person can see it this way, and then another will see it this way, and somehow like we turn one idea into this amazing thing, and we're like, holy shit, you know? So that's the beauty of what we have in this mastermind. So obviously, like when we get on these things, it just kind of rolls in that fun little way. Mm-hmm. Application link is right above satoriprime.com/FB Mastery.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight and sticking around. You know, I hope that everybody got great value out of this, whether you work with us or not, or whether you fill out an application to talk to us about working with us or not. The whole point of this is to, you know, give you value, give you more understanding of Facebook, and help you to, you know, be able to use that as a tool to grow your business and really achieve the life that you want to achieve. It's definitely done that for us. It's both of our primary sources of income, majority of our income, and you know, we live incredible lives because of it, and we'd like to, you know, see you guys do the same thing.
Absolutely. Sure.
Prostitution, you know, we're all getting old. Our bodies aren't what they used to be. Facebook is the new prostitution, right? So
Elon just doesn't look as good in the script as he used to. I will say this is the only salesy thing that I'll say, guys. Like you know, if you're interested, like you know this is for you, you gotta let us know as soon as possible. You gotta get your app in, and you gotta make it really obvious. Like, I'm in. Like, I want to do this, because we need to be very picky and choosy with our time. We have a team, and we're limited in terms of what we're capable of doing. So if like there's 20 of you guys, like we might have to put you in your queue and say, look, we'll get to you. So if you're like hungry, like your business has got to go like right now, you gotta let us know, and you gotta get your app in, and like email Elon, say like I want to be the first person to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I can say we do have a project rollout calendar, because we've got pending contracts out with like 8 or 9 new clients. We just got 2 of them signed today. And so we slot all those out, and we only launch 2 clients a week. So we are about a week and a half, 2 weeks out for being able to start somebody right now the way it is.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind. You know, we got, I don't know, what was it, 15 apps like an hour ago. I imagine we'll probably pull in between 30 to 50 apps from this webinar. Like, keep that in mind, right? And I know some of you are going to probably end up in the mastermind. Some of you will probably work with us. But just keep that in mind. Like, if you got to let us know that you're hungry.
Jason, one last thing, and then we'll kill this. Someone just asked and brought up a really good point, because we all forgot about it because we got so excited. Where do they post the pictures of the notes?
Ooh.
Oh, damn, yeah. So we're going to put that on, I'll have you guys just go to my fan page and post that. So I'm going to pop the link into Skype for Elon, because I don't have the webinar jam stuff anymore.
Yep, drop it.
So they can just go to that link right there, post the pictures. I'll sort through them. I'm gonna be hopping off the interwebs here after this for the night. I'll sort through it in the morning, and then I'll private message somebody that I pick randomly, and I'll PayPal you the $97.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed this. Would love to hear your feedback. You can email me. Would love to hear if you had any lingering questions, whatever. And I look forward to speaking to most of you in the next couple of weeks here. All right, boys. Have an amazing rest of your night.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Later, guys.